very prudent and measured about being able to respond in north and in other regions. And now we've seen reports even from the southwest along the coastline of divers and other activities. So it's not an easy scenario. It's a multi-front warfare potentially. Israel has to be measured about it. I will say that their special operations units have already had quite a bit of engagement in Gaza. We've had reports of soldiers that have actually been killed down there from specific targeting and probing efforts to find hostages. So it is a delicate balance, but ultimately I think Israel will invade exactly when the time is right.
Cameron Hamilton, General Tata, thank you both. I want to bring in Lucas Tomlinson. He's live for us in Tel Aviv, and he's got significance of the targets that the United States hit in Syria. What are you working on, Lucas?
Well, Trace, is notable in that statement by Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin. They call these narrowly tailored strikes in self-defense. Of course, this is after
Indiana being Indiana as usual. Raggedy road, traffic backed up.
Not just in the White House, the Pentagon,
20-something miles east of Indianapolis.
Also, for years, Trace, the red line for U.S. forces has been the death of any American after that U.S. contractor was
basically
killed.
midnight now.
Attack in one of those drone strikes.
They're acting up as usual.
That certainly compelled the
that like button for me
to launch these airstrikes. And the target were ammunition depots in Abu Kamal.
Y'all either big, y'all just got done watching Thursday Night Football, watching the NBA. I'm out here playing in traffic.
Where ISIS made its last stand. And remember, we still
World War III coming closer and closer. U.S. just struck some Iranian-backed targets in Syria.
In the last 10 days and tonight.
So get ready. They still ain't caught the mass unaliving in Maine. They still haven't caught him yet. These some turbulent times.
When you talk about these targets, were these targets specifically picked out, or is this something?
There's always something in the state of Indiana. God,
there's always going to be target lists at the Pentagon, tracing. If you remember back in March, it's actually the second time the Biden administration has launched strikes against these Iranian-backed proxy groups in eastern Syria. It's the same general location as well. Back in March, another contractor died in a rocket attack in eastern Syria. These targets, it's very notable that it's not a barracks. These were against infrastructure. These were ammunition depots, weapons and ammunition used by the Iranian proxy groups in eastern Syria. A pair of F-16s were used for the target. It's very important to think of it, pinpoint strikes. You were talking earlier about why would you not launch a Tomahawk cruise missile? When you talk about Tomahawks, those are launched from the sea.
Man, I said, damn, go jack off real quick. Get back on the seat and still wouldn't move. I might as well go jack off real quick. Oh, let me stop YouTube. Acting fools. Let me stop joking like that.
Lucas, back to you as the news warrants and bring in chief political anchor Brett Mayer. Brett, a lot of news tonight. The political ramifications of this. What do you think?
This is the life of truck driving. Everybody says, get your CDLs. No, actually, they'll say, get your CDLs. Get your CDLs. Get your CDLs if you want. And see what happens if you get caught with CDLs. That's what they say. Get your CDL, they said. Travel the whole country, they said. Enjoy the scenery, they said. Bullshit. That's what you look at. Back of other goddamn trucks. The Amazon Prime truck in front of me. So some of y'all product on the hell, some of my product look like no. My product better not be on there. I live in South Carolina, they going the wrong way.
They basically offer the president a menu. This menu, something tells me, has been offered for some days now since the strikes had happened throughout the region.
Yeah, I've got a couple of minutes to break, Brett, but we talked about this with the general, with Cameron Hamilton. What if the proportional strike has to go up? What if these proxy groups
you know what, if I get drafted for World War III, I won't even give a shit.
It's a bigger strike, it's a tomahawk, it's something else maybe in a different area.
Just put me back in the Army again.
And that's the fear for people who are
so I get down.
The U.S. being drawn in.
Finish up what I screwed up. It become an E5 at least. I got out as an E4. Y'all draft for World War III, put me back in the Army.
Bites at the apple going after key targets.
Send me back to the desert. I don't mind. I like the desert.
Everything that we're being briefed
I don't mind the heat. I can do 130 degrees again.
It is very targeted. There's already
I go to send me to Iran, kick some Iran ass. Iran them motherfuckers up out of here.
Depending on what happens next.
Yeah, it really does. And I wonder, Brett, if these calculations...
Hit that like button for me.
Jennifer was at a briefing tonight. You think that they've got 2-3 steps down the road. It always works like that, and we'll see how this plays out. We've got 20 seconds left for your final thoughts on this before you jump on a plane and come home.
Well, I just think it's dangerous. It's a dangerous time. It's a tinderbox, and obviously we have a lot of assets in the region. The question is what Israel does, when it does it.
Israel gonna tear Hamas ass up, and I can't wait.
Special report. Safe travels, my friend. We'll see you back in the nation's capital very soon. So the break here is that we keep talking about this. The airstrikes, these were 2 F-16s. They came in and they hit 2 targets in Syria. The question is, will they stop these Iranian proxies? Continuing coverage of breaking news. Next, Fox News.
Still to this day, if I listen to them.
And play Nirvana music. Nirvana might tax my ass. Wish you wouldn't complain about. People wouldn't complain about music being playing while on YouTube. It's not like you can make money off of it. Shit. Copyright this, copyright that, copyright these nuts. To be on the other side of Chicago in a few hours. Oh, you got that. I mean, in the trucking industry, it don't be the 11-hour rule so much that pisses me off. It's that 14-hour goddamn rule. That's one they get rid of. That's about as bad as that time when they popped up with the 34-hour reset rule, and you had to do 2 consecutive. You had to have 2 consecutive times off of between 1 a.m. to 5 a.m. So theoretically, a 34-hour reset could be like about 50-something hours. That nonsense that happened in the mid-2010s. Glad they stopped doing that goofy shit. They need to get rid of this 14 hours. I can deal with the 11, I can deal with the 70, but get rid of that 14-hour rule. Shit. Most of the times, it's bullshitting around. And with these customers and all that, you waste more time. You can actually get some rest while you're sitting waiting to get loaded and unloaded. So it should just let it be straight. Up to 11, and then you do your 10-hour break. Get rid of that 14-hour. I don't want to hear shit about those split sleeper, because I actually did I tried to do a split sleeper this morning, and I woke up after 8 hours and I only had like 30 minutes. So we don't have to do the full 10. Sometimes that shit works, sometimes that shit don't work. 17 years almost, and I still haven't figured out exactly how that split sleeper shit works. God damn, they got some dead stuff. I ate earlier, so I ain't really hungry. I got my popcorn, so that could be good. My greedy fat ass, I go to like Cinemark and AMC. They both have the take-home bags of popcorn, and I put them in a 5-gallon buckets. Or if I'm out on the West Coast, like Arizona or Cali, they got Hawkins down there. They do the same thing with the take-home bag of popcorn, and that should be good. Put it in my 5-gallon bucket, and my sunflower seeds. I'm good to go. Occasionally I might get some candy, but mainly as long as I got my popcorn and my seeds and my Black and Milds, something to drink, I'm good to go. I want to get an icy though. majority of these ices at the truck stops, Pilot, Flying J's, they be the same flavors: Coca-Cola, Mountain Dew, blue raspberry, and cherry. That's why I try to find like a Speedway or a Circle K or something, get a different flavor icy.
States, it appears one of the largest manhunts in the history of the state of Maine is now back on because for several hours tonight
they still ain't caught this motherfucker.
Their man with numerous law enforcement vehicles surrounding the family compound of Robert Carr in Bowdoin, Maine.
That crazy motherfucker.
There was a series of explosions, either gunshots, flashbangs, it's unclear. Then police began yelling to come out with your hands up. Now there are reports that police went into the property. They found nothing. So 40-year-old Robert Carr remains on the run, accused of opening fire in a bowling alley in Lewis.
He probably done killed himself in the woods somewhere or down. They say he might have a boat or something and probably jumped in the ocean. But they say the rumor is that he was looking for his ex-girlfriend, so he sounded like he a psycho simp. I was thinking he was probably an incel, but he might be a psycho. Well, yeah, they could be the same thing. But you know, y'all simp ass motherfuckers be letting women drive y'all crazy to do shit like this. Although some of these chicks, they can cause a motherfucker to go crazy. But shit, go crazy on that motherfucker. Not on everybody else. We did shit to you. Why you wanna mass shoot us? We did shit to you. And for the record, I have survived a few mass shootings. They've been all at clubs. The worst one was in 06. The club he called Mr. C's in South Carolina. April 2006, that was a mass shooting, 2 dead, 12 injured. I passed out both of the dead bodies while looking for my friend. He was drunk, and he went to go sit in the car with my keys. When I got out of the car, I couldn't find his ass. I'm like, oh shit. But yeah, mass shooting ain't no joke. I survived a few. Lord, what y'all got going on up there? Indiana and right ass down. This stretch they've been working on for years outside of Mount Comfort.
It's great to have you on here. It's interesting because you look at these searches and it seems to me like
Can I get a like button? Can I get y'all to hit that like button for me? Like, subscribe, and share me out. The more I get shared out, the more my numbers get better. The more I can show y'all a vlog of my trucking life and talking shit about random shit on YouTube and shit. Every news shit.
Many times you have individuals who suffer from significant mental illness, and these individuals unfortunately come to a realization of the significant harm that they may have caused later on in a lucid moment, a coherent moment. And of course, the investigation, what may bring about these types of mental conditions is important.
I know the conspiracy theories ready to get it on, but I don't blame them. Because a lot of this shit is suspect. Come on.
Second Amendment community or state, there is a right for concealed weapons, barring certain exceptions, and that's why violence, gun violence, is so rare in the state. It's a marked detraction from most of the mantras we hear about weapons, but let's not discount the fact that in the woods, in the forests, the waterways,
we on the brink of World War III, and all of a sudden a mass shooting out of nowhere in small population ass Maine. Nothing but, I don't want to fit. Yeah, I want to fit. Nothing but old crusty ass motherfuckers up in Maine, and all of a sudden a mass shooting happens up there. I've had issues with the state of Maine. The state of Maine almost derailed my career, so yeah, I'm gonna talk a little shit, calling people crusty up there. But for real though, my condolences go out to the victims. I praise God to heal those who are wounded.
Conduct a significant evaluation of the suspect.
Hurry up and wait, just like the army, huh?
If that happens, and if
hurry up and get up there. All right, now wait.
Registered, owned, and controlled by him, either
nuts the butt. Well, you don't want to get too close to the truck.
needed to be taken away from
Then you'll be in an accident. Be sitting for even longer.
Excuse to say, hey, you know what? Maybe we just weren't on our game and it fell to the cracks. We have at least 18 people's lives taken and hundreds of those who have been affected. And
now I know the first reports of stuff usually don't be accurate, but how do you come out last night saying 22 people were unalive, and then the next day say it was only 18? I mean, come on.
Could he be arrested for that? Actually, 10 seconds.
And they said that was confirmed last night, 22, not speculated. They said that was confirmed. I'll give credence. I mean, I understand. I totally get it. When they say the first reports don't be accurate, the first report, initial reports had a range, so I understood that. But they said last night it was confirmed 22. Now it dropped to 18.
Mental illness and how legislation once passed has to filter down and be.
I'll give people credits that say conspiracy theory.
Exactly right. Thank you, John. Live for us again. Thank you for jumping in and helping.
Well, to be honest, I have my own conspiracy theories. One, we allowed Japan to attack us in World War II. Another one, we did not land on no goddamn moon. Another one, the mafia was involved with Kennedy getting unalive, and there was more shooters.
Between $100,000 and $550,000 with an option for higher amounts. If you are a loved one,
couple more. Of course, the 2020 election was rigged. No way in hell Joe Biden got 80 million votes. But then again, people are stupid, so he probably did get them, and now he's falling all over the goddamn place, falling asleep, and sound like somebody old granddaddy out of touch telling Iran don't. Man, sit down. Yeah, I do believe in a few conspiracy theories. I actually think Russia is winning the war. People keep talking about, that's the thing, people keep talking about Russia is inept and their army corrupt and undertrained and all of that, and suffering a lot of casualties and losing a lot of equipment. But that's always been Russia. That's what happened in World War II when Hitler invaded. Russia is the type. Russia is like basically like Bill Belichick's defense when he had Tom Brady. He'll bend. You can get up yards on him, but you can't hardly score. But Russia's always been like that. They suffered the most losses in World War II. Russia always suffers the most casualties, and they'll still end up winning. I believe Russia is winning that war in Ukraine. I don't care what they say. Now these just came out. I gotta verify because some of these news break sites or whatever. I don't know if some might be satire and misinformation, but they basically said Putin had to be revived or some shit. Who knows? My Patriot Supply.
You know better.
2020 taught us you better prep.
You should too. My Patriot Supply, the nation's
I
largest
need to
emergency
prep this damn truck for winter.
You can trust. Go to mypatriotsupply.com.
I got water here, some snacks, but if it's a snowstorm, I'd be
contains tasty breakfasts, lunches, and dinners, averaging over 2,000 calories per day. Get at least one for each family member. My Patriot Supply also sells biomass stoves, off-grid room heaters for when the power goes out, gravity-powered water filters, heirloom seeds, and survival gear. They come in handy soon. Go to
To be honest, I always contemplated using my Patriot Supply just to stock up on food for the truck. Cause damn. Oh God, hell no. That fuck them cars for kids. What the hell they doing? Shut up. Fuck them kids. 1877. Fuck them kids. What the hell they doing when you donate the car? What the hell they doing with it? To donate to a damn kid. They ain't rebuilding the motherfucker for the damn kid to drive. And what they do is scrapping it down and selling the parts. Shit, you can do that for yourself and throw a damn child $20. They never explain what happened with the car. Shit. And ain't nobody donate no damn car worth a damn shit. You might get a damn Ford Tempo or Escort or something donated. You ain't donate no damn car worth a damn. All these motherfuckers around here with damn classics sitting in the yard. I'ma fix it up one day. I saw a bead yesterday. That shit had me laughing. There wasn't even a damn frame in the junkyard of the car. It's just 4 tires on the ground and the spot where they used to have the car sitting there, and it was like the meme said, "Nope, not for sale. I'ma fix it up." That shit had me dying. I was like, they ain't even shit to fix the 4 wheels. But that goes to show you, technically speaking, one of my cars is almost at the point. I mean, it still runs and everything, but it's a little beat up. The exterior a little beat up and stuff, and I gotta put music in it. The tires keep going flat because the updated rims I got from not the little 16s and stuff. They were actually old, but they need to be my homeboy said I gotta get a bead seal and get the rims around the rims grinded or something, or to keep the tires from going flat. But it's not quite at the point of I'm gonna fix it up one day, because it actually still runs. It still runs pretty good too. 2002 Cadillac DeVille. But hell, I want the damn Cadillac Fleetwood Brougham the Elegance. But like I said, everybody keeping them shits. I'm gonna fix it up one day. Give me that. Give me my Escalade and give me my Lamborghini and I'm good. I ain't even bother trying to stop in that rest there because everybody already done pulled up in there by the time I got up here. So now we'll sit, play in traffic with y'all. Drink some water for these hiccups. All right, let's roll again so we can stop. Go ahead, like and subscribe, share my shit, share me out. Get the cash app. I can give me a cup of Pilot Flying J coffee. They got the better one. All these truck stops suck. I got a couple of videos about all these truck stops sucking, but Pilot Flying J actually had a better coffee. Cappuccino. But after the pandemic, they act like they keep running out of damn French vanilla cappuccino though. Hurricane got some nice ass trucks. Shit. Hell, I'd go to Hurricane just to get a damn Peterbilt. I think they got 389s and W900 Kenworth. I'll go there just for the truck. I'll survive off of noodles and sandwiches. Just have a nice ass truck. I think that right there is the Ultra Loft 579P. I don't feel like dealing with a reefer. I mean, I did do a reefer when I was at JCT. It was straight sometimes, doing crazy ass hours, deliveries, pickups, dealing with claims. But I did like the fact that I ain't had to damn sweep out. Once it's done unloading, take it to the truck wash, let him do a trailer wash. Really had to, well, it had to climb in to secure the load sometimes. And had to deal with that annoying ass sweeping and shit. By the way, I've been meaning to get a leaf blower for years, so I don't have to sweep, just blow that shit out. I learned that idea from what's that? I think that was Georgia Pacific paper mill in Cortland, Alabama. And they'll blow the shit out instead of sweeping. That was years ago. I don't know if they still do that now. I think West Rocky, Texas town, not Jasper, is close to it. Sigby or something like that. I think they do the same thing. Yeah, this shit backed up. That's it. You might, it's a little hard to see. Yeah, it is still backed up all the way down there, up there. Lakers come back to take the lead, 100-95. I'm scared to play it though, because that damn copyright shit. Yeah, I'm surprised Fox News ain't copyrighting either. Fox News better sit their ass down. Dumbass is gonna fire Tucker Carlson. I would play the game, but I'm scared I might get copyright. I already got a community strike. I had to take, couldn't go live and post videos for a week.
Licensed professionals have resolved over $1 billion of IRS and state tax debts. It starts with a free consultation.
I was talking shit about Jada Smith Pink. Yeah, I call her Jada Smith Pink. Her goofy ass.
Put your tax problems to rest. Call the tax professionals at Optima now for a free consultation.
I need to call y'all. Swear the IRS tax them out.
725-9935, 800-725-9935. Optima Tax Relief.
But yeah, especially after this FTX Sam Bankman Fried shit, whatever his goddamn name is. I don't trust none of these damn infomercials endorsing these stuff. Cause he tricks celebrities and all that. I mean, that fool got all that money just to donate it, be the second biggest donator to the Democrat Party. What a fruitcake.
The prescription is free, and the shipping is free as well. Friday Plans is blowing up.
I made billions of dollars. I'm an independent. If I made billions of dollars, I'm voting Republican. I want low taxes. I want my President Trump back in the White House.
Viagra for 87 cents. Go to tryfridayplans.com. If you sign up today, you get $10 off your first package.
Now that's what goofy white Democrat leftist liberals do.
It's tryfridayplans.com. Hi, this is professional golfer Marco Mena. When it came to building my personal putting green, I called Celebrity Greens, the leader in customized synthetic golf greens. Celebrity Greens designed a related to the backyard.
I ain't never been in a golf.
Lawn area for my dogs that lives in house, just like natural grass. You can't beat Celebrity Greens' attention to detail, exceptional customer service.
Anything. If I was president, I would be golfing. I'd be fishing.
Call the pros.
Although I ain't been fishing since 1999 when I was a teenager. I don't know how. Every time I say I'm gonna go fishing when I'm home, I end up doing other shit. But I'd rather fish than golf.
Coverage of the United States airstrikes on two Syrian targets. Let's go back to Lucas Thomas more on this.
Which raised the Pentagon is justifying these strikes as self-defense, and after 19 attacks on U.S. forces in the Middle East over the past 10 days, the pressure was ramping up in Washington, both at the White House and the Pentagon briefing rooms, to the U.S. to respond. And earlier this morning, this is exactly what happened when a pair of Air Force F-16s
Tick, 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 close the clock.
Syrian Abu Kamal
Wasting time sitting in this bull.
The targets selected were ammunition depots used by Iran's proxy forces in the region, where some of that ammunition was used to strike back against U.S.
Feel free to comment in the comment section. Hit the like button.
But they're saying, the Pentagon said this is a proportionate response. Certainly, this is all part of the escalation ladder. And as we heard from the defense,
I gotta go live mode so y'all can get to know me.
His forces, and also he was very clear in the statement about calling out Iran by name tracing. Iran is the hidden hand here, and the U.S. will respond, and that's what happened. And
some of y'all try to troll me.
Very clear that
Just warning, I'm a troll too. I troll back.
Separate from the ongoing war between Israel and
Matter of fact, look at that short I posted, taking up for Israel. All the motherfuckers come blasting me, talking shit to me. And I was trolling their ass back, but YouTube kept deleting my comments.
224, even after 4 were released in the past week. Brian Dennis is live with more in Jerusalem. What's being done to bring these people home, Brian?
Yeah, so we know that there are negotiations that are continuing to happen with the Egyptians, the Qataris, the U.S., and the Israelis. We know that a senior Qatari negotiator told Sky News in the last 24 hours that, frankly, they believe that they were close to having a deal to get all of these hostages, release all of these hostages, but there was a couple of conditions there, particularly that they believe that there should not be an escalation, even a moment of calm, which is interesting language from the Qatari negotiator, that what constitutes a moment of calm is interesting, so we'll see. We're seeing some video here. We have some of the hostages that have made their way over to Capitol Hill in the last 24 hours to plead their case to get the U.S. more involved in this negotiation. But as we're starting to see these attacks over the last couple hours in the U.S. and Syria, the big question, we talked about it all night, is how are the Iranians going to respond, and are they going to put pressure on Hamas to
fuck Iran
in any meaningful way? And that's what the families have to be thinking about right now.
I talked to the families about it. They are talking about that, and they would wish.
Lucy, how you doing, boo? How you doing, Miss Lucy? Everything's all right. It's another day of trucking. Stuck in traffic almost 1 o'clock in the morning in Indiana. The work zone and all that. Who knows what's going on up there?
There has been an escalation by the Israeli forces. The first kind of ground raid that we have seen to the extent that we've never really seen this before yet. So
how you been doing?
Are leading to escalation, and does the escalation continue?
Welcome to Israel. Thank you. Up next, we will have correspondence, bringing all of our correspondence back to their final points.
Hi, I'm Joe Perillo from JoePerillo.com. We know many of you are searching for just that right pre-owned luxury vehicle. That's why I want to tell you about JoePerillo.com. At JoePerillo.com, you can browse our huge selection of curated luxury vehicles. JoePerillo.com is based in Chicago, but we ship cars all over the country.
I got two Cadillacs. But I'll take a Lamborghini and 3 more Cadillacs.
1111. That's 312 BMW 1111. 312.
Joe Perillo, get me a Lamborghini. Hit that like button so I can get monetized and I can try to make enough money to get me a Lamborghini Hot Wheels car.
I know how scary drinking too much can be because I struggle with alcohol misuse for most of my adult life, but I also know that it is possible to drink lesser.
Because I'm at work. Y'all clip that part out. Make sure you clip out the part where I said I haven't been able to drink because I've been at work. So we rolling.
Medication is right for you. Prescribe it online. We'll deliver your prescription right to your door. No doctor's office visits required. Text the word BACK to 323232 to get started today. That's BACK to 323232.
Use as directed.
Hi, I'm Kathy Hill, founder of Tax Tiger. If you happen to have unfiled or unpaid taxes, Tax Tiger can protect you from the IRS, release wage and bank levies, and negotiate awesome settlements. Above all, Tax Tiger is a company which operates based on Christian principles. If you have an IRS problem, call us today at 1-800-IRS-9996
people been doing U-turns too. Flip, salute to you, Flip. How you doing, bro?
Or visit us online at
Flip, you going in on last few weeks.
The old way of buying
Flip going in on that Leprechaun and that Harlot of Charlotte. That's my nickname to her. That's what's up. Yeah, you going in, you killing me here. You go so much, I still gotta get caught up. Every time pop up, I got keep put watch later. I gotta get caught up, Flip. You blitzing the hell out of them.
You can fit our blinds in your windows. That's how we're designed. And the savings.
God damn. See why he thought you could have. I was hoping he came down to South Carolina last week when I've been home. I was gonna record. I was gonna record and see if you was gonna do that beat up. Get beat up by Mr. Skinny. I mean, he had a golden opportunity to get clout off of that shit with Kwame Brown, and he fucked it up like his team. Put that grill on. Put that grill on. Man, y'all hell. That Harlot in Charlotte, she's scared of me because I be trolling the fuck out of her ass. She probably won't even let me on that panel no more because I roast that bitch. Ursula looking ass bitch. Man, stop again.
This administration started out equivocating on Hamas. I'm glad to see that they got clarity on the approval of Hamas's end with the slaughter. They were soft heavily Iran. I'm glad to see they've got clarity now. Whether they took a poll or they finally understand, now they're going to be able to focus on deterring Iran, and that may eventually trace get these attacks to stop. They've got to figure out where that tipping point is to where they begin to exercise what we call flexible deterrent options and how they escalate. Well, see, that's the real issue. It's about escalation of damage. It is not in our interest to continue to ramp this up. It's going to end up getting into close with Iran. We thought the Iraq war was just
Kwame Brown is a bust. You need to get it through his head. I don't know what people thought Kwame Brown had a real message. He had no real goddamn message. Goddamn bust. And he doing the shit that he was complaining about everybody else doing. Brian Parcell, what's up? PP. Oh Lord, that's all like a damn troll shit. Not much, just chilling, sitting in traffic. Wait for them to clear this up, work zone and all this nonsense. Yeah. At least it's warm tonight. 69. TJ, what's up? How you doing? Yeah, at least it's warm tonight. Y'all hit that like button for me. Yeah, it's yeah. The dash said it's 69 degrees. That's a good 69. Although I prefer the other 69, but I'll take this 69. Yeah, you probably home chilling. I'm stuck on I-70 traffic outside of Indianapolis. I think I'm sitting about an hour now in this mess. Chicken sandwich with the wife, that's what's up. Yeah, I hear that. Always something with this state. I don't know what it is. I mean, between Indiana and the Northeast, with some of the worst roads and all the construction and shit don't get fixed. They've been working on this stretch for years and still ain't got the shit correct. Talk about conspiracy theories, as I was talking about earlier. That's conspiracy theory. All these all these road construction projects just to seek money out of everybody. Yeah, you be safe too. Watch out for the window lickers and urinal cake eaters. Yeah, gotta watch out for them fools. I appreciate it. You be safe. Can we finally get rolling, please? God, car for kids commercial. Donate no car for no damn kid. Especially, I don't even say what I don't say how it helps to donate a car. Even if the car, especially if the car don't work. What's up, Willie's Club? How you doing? Your Bucks lost tonight, Willie. Told you the game was in Buffalo. They were gonna lose tonight, buddy.
And I like to keep it simple. My methods are changing thousands of lives, and I'm confident you can change yours. So let the truth be the confident.
Yeah, we got a backup outside of Indianapolis. Road construction as usual. Yeah, they lost tonight, Willie. Yeah, this looked like it was pretty. I forgot all about it. I didn't listen to like the tail end. But based on ESPN, looked like it was a pretty good game. But my biggest lead was like 14 points, but a 24-10 game. That before they had scored and made the 2-point conversion, it wasn't out of reach for them. They had a chance at the end with a Hail Mary. Good night, Willie. I'll be safe. You be safe too, Willie, and stay out of trouble. Oh gosh, it is a. Oh gosh. No, it was a wreck. But in the construction zone, so that's a double whammy.
Ammunition depots used to supply these proxy forces that attack U.S. forces in the Middle East 19 times over the past
all lanes blocked.
Have been building in Washington over recent days for the U.S. military to
hope everybody's okay.
And that's exactly what they did tonight, Griff.
Lucas, talk to me about, obviously, the Pentagon saying this is a deterrent. What can we expect next?
Well, Griff, Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin, in his statement detailing these strikes, was specific. He said these were narrowly tailored self-defense strikes after those attacks. He also called out Iran by name and said Iran is the hidden hand here, and the United States won't let it be, and that they will strike back and they will defend its forces. And they also warned against any further attacks against U.S. forces in the region, said the U.S. reserves the right to strike back. There's no question.
We even got to the pilot
was presented to President Biden, and he chose to strike back. That's exactly what happened.
Never mind, disregard that. Coming up to the 104. That pilot at the 96.
Stand there in the Abu Kamal region, right there on the border with Iraq. You had 900 U.S. troops on the ground in Syria. You had 2,500 on the ground in neighboring Iraq.
But all lanes
blocked. The location of the target is significant. These are largely uncovered spaces, and certainly the prompt for American F-16 jets with their satellite guided bombs overhead.
And just one more follow-up, Lucas, and that is from our colleague Jennifer Berente.
Although people were doing illegal U-turns earlier.
Says that Israel was not notified ahead of time of this strike.
There's no doubt, Griff, that the Pentagon wants to keep what's going on between the United States and Iran as proxy forces separate from this war here in Israel between Israel and Hamas. As part of the statement from the Defense Secretary. Generally, a courtesy call is warranted, and I'm told that courtesies were given, attempted right before the strike and right after, but the Pentagon is highlighting there was no coordination with Israel over these airstrikes, which the U.S. military says were in self-defense.
Lucas Thompson, live for us in Tel Aviv. Lucas, we'll check back in with you as news warrants. Kevin.
All right, Griff, thank you. Meantime, the U.S. airstrikes coming on the heels of those attacks on U.S. troops in the Middle East. We want to bring in General Anthony Tatum, a retired U.S. Army Brigadier General and author of Total Empire. General, this is, for me, this is an interesting circumstance because, as Lucas mentioned, listen, OPSEC is very important in this circumstance. You want to make sure that we are secure in the operations, and yet there is a courtesy, generally speaking. How surprised are you that there was no forewarning for our partners in Israel?
Hey team, great to be with you all. I'm not surprised at all. I think it was the right policy call to just do this.
Accident and or work zone. That's why we've been here sitting for a while.
Maintain that this is a separate and distinct operation as one of self-preservation, self-defense of our own troops that were attacked by Shia groups backed by Iran, and certainly the operational security requirements that you mentioned as well to protect our friendly forces. We traverse different airspaces, so there's always coordination that has to take place. But I think it was the right call to do this.
You know, this is one of the more complicated parts of the world. As you well know, I've spent time in the Middle East, and I can tell you that no matter how much we try to separate what the U.S. is doing to protect its own interests from what's happening with the Israelis and the Hamas fighters, I'm very concerned, General, that this will be viewed in a broader spectrum by the vast majority of people that live in the region. Am I off base there, or do you share that view? No.
Yeah, no, absolutely. This is going to be conflated with the Israeli efforts in Gaza, and already, it's a 51 to 49% view that we're allied with them, we're supporting them, we're providing them the resources, some resources to conduct their operations, and so this is just going to be viewed by the average person in Gaza and Lebanon or in Iran as a cover
I'm so used to, even with a heavy ass load, this load over 40-something thousand pounds in 10 speed, I can still start off in fourth gear, third and fourth gear like it's nothing.
Coming into the battle space and disrupting Israel's operations.
Let me follow up on that, General Tata. How much does that complicate what we're trying to do? Obviously, we're doing everything, I think, from a policy perspective to try to avoid that impression, and yet we also have partners in the region, not just Israel. We have other partners in and around those areas. It's a delicate balance. I'm just wondering how much this complicates our relationships.
I don't know that the problem could be more complicated. It's PhD level stuff. You got Turkey, a NATO ally just to the north. We've got troops in Syria and Iraq. You've got Iran, which the administration sort of soft pedaled and has been reluctant to name. And so the biggest takeaway for me today was our hard shift from being somewhat equivocating somewhat on Hamas's slaughter. Remember the State Department sent out a couple of tweets that said, let's take a step back and that kind of thing, and not really acknowledging the brutality. And then they've been soft pedaling Iran, saying that there was no direct evidence that Iran was involved, when clearly there was. They were training Hamas fighters in Iran. So now, real hard pivot today, calling out Hamas, saying it's unacceptable, which is a good pivot, and then calling out Iran and saying their fingerprints are all over this. Another good pivot. So today, I think we finally aligned, U.S. foreign policy with where it needs to be, as opposed to this appeasement strategy that had been in place.
I think you nailed it. I've been watching this in real time. If you go back to the very first day, how the administration sort of tried to couch its support for Israel while at the same time trying to walk that fine line and not appear to be too one-sided. And now, as you mentioned, I think it has become quite obvious where this administration stands, and I think the strikes today further push that narrative forward. General, thank you so much. We appreciate it. Obviously, we'll get back to you later on throughout the hour. Appreciate it for now, but for now, let's head back over to Griff.
Thank you, Kevin. Turning now to our other big story overnight. Law enforcement working around the clock to hunt down the gunman suspected of killing at least 18 people in Maine. We're learning that agents from an elite Border Patrol tactical units are on the ground assisting with the search. Let's get Fox News correspondent Molly Line live in Houston, Maine. Hey, Molly, what's the latest? What can you tell us? Good morning.
Hi, Griff. Yeah, you're talking about the BORTAC agents. They are officially on the ground. They arrived here tonight. BORTAC is essentially the special forces of the Border Patrol. A senior Customs and Border Patrol source tells our own, who else, but Bill Malushin, that this unit has arrived here and they're here to help for the manhunt for Robert Carr, who of course still remains out there on the loose. It is some more than 24 hours after the unfolding of this massacre here in Lewiston, Maine. BORTAC has been successful in resolving several high-profile cases. They helped track and find the Pennsylvania murderer. Remember, this happened not so long ago. Danielle Cavalcante. BORTAC also helped capture the Cleveland, Texas mass shooter. And BORTAC reached and killed the Uvalde school shooter. That was back in May of 2022. So pretty elite unit joining a team of law enforcement that are here on the ground. Earlier heads up, went through all of those types of warnings where it might seem like someone would be there, but it turns out there was no one there in that property. A series of flashbangs were deployed. Maine State Police saying that those announcements, which were heard over that megaphone, are just standard search warrant announcements. So they were there, they were executing a series of search warrants, and that was the standard warning they might give if they weren't sure someone was in a residence or in the property. And it turns out Robert Carter was not remains on the loose right now. One final note before I send it back to you, the Coast Guard is now also involved. So you're seeing all sorts of different agencies, BORTAC, the Coast Guard, FBI, broadening the circle of assets, the agents that are here on the ground as they continue this manhunt for Robert Carter that has thus far evaded capture. Griff, back to you.
Hey, Molly, just a quick geographical question, because I've spent obviously a lot of time with BORTAC agents, and actually I remember going back to 2015 when I was covering the Dannemora prison break, the two inmates that escaped there, and it was Border Patrol agents that also assisted in that manhunt, which was very complicated because it was in the Adirondacks, the terrain was very dense, thick woods, we had minimal communications in that kind of environment, and yet it was the skills, particularly of the Border Patrol agents that assisted there, as well as the recent ones you mentioned. What is if they're hunting in that area, what is the geography like?
Yeah, well, not unlike Dannemora, I was there as well. We're here on the ground in Maine. It's the same sort of thing. A lot of swampland, a lot of dense forest land, a lot of nooks and crannies. The two escaped convicts there in that case were ultimately determined that they had found a cabin to hole up in, at least for a period of time. And that's something that it would also be something that could potentially happen here in Maine. There are a lot of little properties and cabins and lakes and places where someone, particularly someone that potentially had a plan, might be able to go and hide it. In the case of those escaped convicts there in that area in upstate New York, their plan had gone awry, but they ended up finding a cabin that didn't have a lot of food. In this particular case, we don't know what the after plan was following mass shootings that are being investigated here in Lewiston. We don't know if where Robert Card is, or if he had some sort of plan. If there is a hole up with supplies and whatnot, there's just so much that we don't know at this point in time. Investigators are not giving any indication or narrowing down the territory that they're looking at. Geographically, we're in the city of Lewiston, about 35,000 people. The car that was of interest, they believe that car had used to travel was in Lisbon. That's about a 15-minute drive from here. And then Valley, the home property, the home area, that hometown of Robert Carter, a little farther from here, a little further down from there. So that's 16 miles away. All of these couple of communities that have been so heavily impacted by what's unfolding, all linked very close together. But then it's when you broaden out and look at a broader Maine, a lot of woodlands, and we just don't know where this individual is, but the manhunt continues. Griff?
A lot of places to hide. Molly Line, law enforcement in Maine with great insight. Molly, thank you. Kevin?
Thank you, Griff. Let's turn now to Fox News contributor Ted Williams, former DC police detective and defense attorney. I want to put on our player hats first here today. I want to ask you about collecting the comms of this individual. How important is it to collect, full information, or information, and any other sort of comms that you can collect? And how quickly can you get a judge to sign off on something like that?
Well, first of all, let me say I'm happy to be with you, Kevin, and Griff, who I was in Dannemora, New York with, had been those ones for a long time. But having said that, when it comes to collecting evidence, it is very, very important. There are two phases to this investigation, Kevin.
Yeah, I hit that like button.
Law enforcement phase where they
enjoy this while I'm sitting in traffic
and trying to find Robert Card. But on the other hand, you have the prosecution, and they are building their case against Robert Card in the event that he is caught. So it's both working together, the prosecution and law enforcement, to bring this guy to justice.
That's always interesting because, listen, I can't imagine in my wildest dreams a judge not signing off on every possible request because this is an urgent matter involving public safety, and yet you want to handle it properly. You don't want to end up in a circumstance where you don't have all your ducks in a row, and then obviously you make this request for a warrant and you don't get it approved. But I think in this case that should not be a problem. I do want to ask you though, Ted, about whether or not you think this is an individual Molly Lai talked about. I thought it was a very interesting conversation she was having with Griff about this notion of what was the plan after. We don't know if this person went in thinking this is a kamikaze circumstance. I probably won't make it. But then again, he made it past one place, then a second place, and now he's presumably on the run. I'm just wondering if you think that maybe this guy is holed up somewhere possibly where he has MREs, he has supplies. How likely is that circumstance, or is that too far afield, Ted, to even figure out?
He left the Lewiston, Maine area, that he went to Lisbon, Maine, and that's where he discarded his car. Now, this was along a waterway. We understand that this guy owned a jet ski. What we don't know is, did he have an accomplice? We don't know any of that at this time. So he could be anywhere. It's sort of like a needle in the haystack. Now, when it came to what took place here earlier tonight with law enforcement in his home and asked him to come out, I found that to be rather strange, and I think Griff could even speak to this. Normally, law enforcement officers would have wanted to serve a warrant if possible during the daytime. And second, after these killings, after this carnage last night, law enforcement officers were immediately at his home. And those law enforcement officers, while some of them would have left, they would have left law enforcement officers at that home. So it was kind of strange about them asking him to come out. They may have had something that led them to believe that he was there. I think the bottom line is that it's more likely than not that this guy is anyway close to his home. He could be anywhere in the state of Maine or outside the state of Maine.
I'm glad you mentioned that. I was skeptical because it didn't make sense to me, given that they had several hours to search that area. We all, obviously, from last night on, they probably had that place swarmed. So unless there was some sort of hidden compartment that perhaps someone discovered, I thought it was a curious decision as well. But we'll leave the Monday morning quarterbacking for later. We'll continue to sort of process the information as we get it. Thank you, of course, and we'll talk to you again, my friend, here shortly. Meantime, coming up, the U.S. sets off multiple precision self-defense strikes in an attempt to protect American troops from further Iranian proxy attacks. Former member of the FBI Joint Terrorism Task Force and retired U.S. Naval Officer Steve Rogers weighs in next.
Want to hear something scary? Spirits are swirling in the Sirius XM app with creepy Halloween dreams. Drift into the dark with Scream Radio. Here's Johnny. Into Nitro's Halloween headbangers. Find even more monstrous fun right now on the Sirius XM app. Just search Halloween.
Hi, I'm Joe Perillo with JoePerillo.com. We know many of you are searching for just that right pre-owned luxury vehicle. That's why I want to tell you about JoePerillo.com. At JoePerillo.com, you can browse our huge selection of curated luxury vehicles. JoePerillo.com is based in Chicago, but we ship cars all over the country. Check out JoePerillo.com. That's Joe Perillo, Perillo. Or dial 312 BMW 1111. That's 312 BMW 1111. 312 BMW 1111.
Urgent Camp Lejeune settlement message. On September 6th, the government announced it will soon begin providing fast, guaranteed settlements to Camp Lejeune Marines, families, and civilians. Awards will range between $100,000 and $550,000, with an option for higher amounts. If you or a loved one spent time at Camp Lejeune and suffered cancers of the bladder, liver, or kidneys, leukemia, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, Parkinson's, or kidney issues, you may qualify for compensation and could be paid within 60 days after accepting your settlement, with your VA benefits fully protected.
That like button, hit that like
To a
button.
significant financial award for your Camp Lejeune claim, but you must act now. Call the James Harris Law Camp Lejeune helpline now to get the compensation you deserve. We're already fighting for thousands harmed by the water at Camp Lejeune. Call now, or you may forever lose your right to be awarded a settlement between $100,000 and $550,000. For your free evaluation, call 800-260-3755. That's 800-260-3755. 800-260-3755.
Don't buy generic Viagra anywhere before trying this trick. It's called Friday Plans, and it's the only way to get 100 milligram generic Viagra delivered for just 87 cents. In order to get 100 milligram generic Viagra delivered for 87 cents, go to tryfridayplans.com. All you need is simply one. Pick your dose and answer a few simple questions. A doctor will give you answers and prescribe them online with the program. The prescription is free, and the shipping is free as well. Friday Plans is blowing up. I've seen it multiple times on news stations like CNN, Fox News, and MSNBC. Over 40,000 men across the U.S. have already signed up. Don't miss your chance to get generic Viagra for 87 cents. Go to tryfridayplans.com. If you sign up today, you get $10 off the first package. The prescription and shipping are free. Don't wait. Go to tryfridayplans.com. Once again, it's tryfridayplans.com.
Hi, I'm Kathy Hill, founder of Tax Tiger. If you happen to have unfiled or unpaid taxes, Tax Tiger can protect you from the IRS, release wage and bank levies, and negotiate awesome settlements. Above all, Tax Tiger is a company which operates based on Christian principles. If you have an IRS problem, call us today at 1-800-IRS-9196 for a free consultation. 1-800-IRS-9196, or visit us online at taxtiger.com.
Hi, this is professional golfer Mark O'Mara. When it came to building my personal putting green, I called Celebrity Greens, the leader in customized synthetic golf greens. Celebrity Greens designed an amazing backyard green for me and a synthetic lawn area for my dogs that looks and acts just like natural grass. You can't beat Celebrity Greens' attention to detail and exceptional customer service. Learn how to create a championship putting green in your own backyard. Call the pros at Celebrity Greens, 1-888-507-7960, or visit them online at celebritygreens.com.
Invita's Precision Second Opinion is disrupting the world of late-stage cancer in a positive way. Sandy, Archie, and Jan all had something in common. Late-stage colon, prostate, and breast cancers that didn't have targeted treatment options. Invita's Precision technology has given them their lives back. I'm Dr. Dino Prado, and I personally welcome you to utilize our Precision Second Opinion and discover if Invita is right for you. Visit us at invita.com.
The Landstar business model gives professional drivers the freedom to decide what to haul, where to run, and when to go home. There's no forced dispatch at Landstar, so you call the shots. Plus, Landstar owner-operators get exclusive savings on fuel, tires, equipment, and more. Whether you specialize in van, flatbed, step deck, or heavy specialized, define success on your terms as an independent owner-operator leased to Landstar. Visit leasetolandstar.com to find out why owner-operators call Landstar home.
United States warplanes have carried out an airstrike in Syria. A pair of F-16s struck targets in the country just hours ago in retaliation for attacks on U.S. troops in the region that injured 21 service members. A senior U.S. defense official says Israel was not informed ahead of carrying out the airstrikes against IRGC facilities. Let's turn now to Steve Rogers, retired lieutenant detective for the Nutley, New Jersey Police Department. He's also a former member of the FBI Joint Terrorism Task Force, as well as a retired U.S. Naval officer. Steve, thank you. Good morning. Thanks for being up late for us. Let's go right to these strikes. This is not the first time President Biden has struck Syria. He did it last year. He did it in 2021. It's used as a deterrent
deterrent. Will this work? Was this strike, in your view, proportional?
Well, the strike was proportional, but I don't believe it will be a deterrent. And there's been a lot of focus on Syria, on the Mideast. But there is another element to this that we need to think about, talk about, and that's our homeland right here in the United States. I believe that Iran, who has their fingerprints all over this, has been preparing this for a long time. Our southern border has been open for a few years, and there's no question in my mind, based on my experience in working at the National Joint Terrorism Task Force years ago, that a good number of terrorists have crossed that border. There's a lot of planning that's been done with Iran with regard to coordinated attacks. Now they're bold enough, believing that we're so weak after Afghanistan, that they're at liberty to do what they may with the United States of America. So I don't believe it's much of a deterrent at this point in time.
Steve, you really opened up a can of worms here I want to ask you about, because obviously you've seen, I've covered the border quite a lot. I've just spent 10 days down on the border. In the time I was in Eagle Pass, 6 Iranians had crossed the border along with 3 Lebanese, a Syrian man. But what's significant is that when these special interest aliens come into the custody of Border Patrol, they're turned over to ICE, and then ultimately it is the Joint Terrorism Task Force that does the background checks to determine whether or not they're on the terror screening data set, terror watch list, if you will. And so if you sort of connect some dots here, you're saying tonight, or early this morning I should say, that you're concerned that as we see Iran through their proxies escalating towards the U.S., that there could possibly be a threat crossing the border, or may already be here amongst the hundreds of thousands that have crossed our border.
Look, I believe they're here. There are thousands of across that border that we cannot find, that, by the way, compliments of the U.S. government were transported to cities all over this country. They're unaccounted for. We don't know who they are. We don't know where they are. I remember one of our first concerns back after 9/11, working with military intelligence and the FBI, was the border back then. And one of our concerns was who's going to cross that border with a high-powered weapon. And we're talking about, and we were worried about a suitcase bomb, things like that. Now, of course, I would hope to God that they never had the opportunity to bring something like that across the border. At least somebody, I hope, was checking. But the fact of the matter is that the whole planet knows that that border was very, very open. Anybody could cross from there. And as you just stated, even recently, the ICE has arrested Iranians. They've detained people from Iraq, all areas of the Mideast. And one common denominator with most of these people, young men. Think about that one.
Yeah. That's exactly right, Steve, and I can tell you border officials are very concerned about the threat you're talking about. Let me just quickly, before we run out of time, take you back to put your naval hat on. And as we talk about or hear about the escalation ladder, in other words, when Iran's proxies strike the U.S., we escalate proportionally. And the red line seems to be, and always has been, the death of U.S. citizens. And when we look at what may come next, and as Lucas Tomlinson has done great reporting, the president will have a menu of options for any additional strikes. And of course, it's worth pointing out that Defense Secretary Austin says we do not seek conflict. There's no intention to engage in further hostilities. But do you predict that things will continue, or is this going to be it for a while?
Well, things are going to get worse in my view. Look, we're dealing with irrational people in Iran. They're hell-bent on destroying Israel and the United States, and they believe that they're going to have no other opportunity than now because of this perception of weakness. Well, they're going to find out about the firepower of the United States Navy. I believe that. I believe the red line has already been drawn, and it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And when that happens, they will get the full weight of U.S. military. Especially if an American dies as a result of one of those missile strikes or rocket attacks on one of our American bases, they're going to have hell to pay. And that's the message that I believe the White House sent them right now. It was a message. I agree with them. But if you go beyond what you were told already, you're going to pay a heavy price.
You are right. That is indeed the message. We will see if Iran heeds it. Steve Rogers, thank you for getting up early for us this morning.
Oh, you're welcome. And thank you for the good work you're doing.
Thank you, sir. Meanwhile, President Biden giving the go-ahead for U.S. fighter jets to strike targets in Syria as tension escalates in the Middle East. The strikes are retaliation for attacks against U.S. troops in the region. To could this further inflame the situation? We've got a lot more on that ahead.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou, a term provider, 800-244-0909. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems. If you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-244-0909. That's 800-244-0909. For $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with, call Big Lou. 800-244-0909.
The first taste of coffee in the morning. Your child's laugh. The great outdoors. Florida Cancer Specialist knows. It's the little things that matter. From next-generation sequencing to immunotherapies, we use the most advanced techniques and treatments to deliver the best possible care close to you. Visit flcancer.com/littlethings to see how our experts are with you every step of the way.
Attention investors, are you sick and tired of riding the ups and downs of the stock market? Your portfolio should be providing you and your family with passive, predictable returns every month, and I can show you how. My name's Grant Cardone, and I founded Cardone Capital to give the everyday investor access to real estate assets typically reserved for the ultra-wealthy and ultra-connected. Over the last 30 years, I've bought and sold billions of dollars of real estate. We only purchase Class A, stabilized, cash-flowing assets in the best markets in the country, and that's cash flow from day one of ownership. Don't be fooled by offers of high returns by speculative development funds that always get punished in recessions. Protect your money and your portfolio by getting monthly distributions and the tax benefits of an owner. Visit CardoneCapital.com. Go to CardoneCapital.com. That's CardoneCapital.com to learn more about our latest deal. That's CardoneCapital.com. Go there today to get informed about our latest deal.
Individual results may vary. There's no guarantee that past performance will be indicative of future results. Invest wisely.
See full disclosure at CardoneCapital.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-1758. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. There is zero risk to you. If we can't reduce your tax debt, then you pay nothing. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have a 5-star rating on Google and Yelp and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-1758. That's 800-575-1758. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. These are tough times for everyone. So dealing with your timeshare may not be your biggest concern. But when this passes, do you still want a lifetime of payments, fees, and commitments for a timeshare you were misled into buying?
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, CEO and founder of Wesley Financial Group. 10 years ago, I started the timeshare cancellation industry by exposing the ugly truth about timeshare.
Yeah, never ever get a timeshare. Timeshares are rip-off scams. You better invest it with Bernie Madoff.
An average of $65,000 lifetime payments. Imagine putting those timeshare dollars back in your pocket. Give my office a call today. I guarantee if we take you as a client, we will cancel your timeshare or you'll pay nothing.
Call Wesley Financial now for your free information kit. 800-722-1144. That's 800-722-1144. 800-722-1144.
Hit
As
that
a
like
truck driver,
button.
your
Please
time
hit
is
that like
valuable.
button.
It's critical that you are provided excellent equipment in tip-top shape. At Rail Transport, we make sure that when breakdowns happen, you are back on the road quickly. We measure downtime in hours, not days. Couple that with our industry-leading address-to-address practical route mileage, and you have a winning combination. It's all part of our commitment to driver success. To learn more about driving careers with Rail, give us a call at 715-591-7050 or visit rail.jobs.
President Biden ordering the U.S. military to strike targets in Syria. The strikes are in retaliation for the attacks on U.S. troops in the region. Let's go back to Fox News correspondent Lucas Tomlinson on the ground in Tel Aviv for the latest. Hey, Lucas.
Griff, the U.S. military launching a pair of Vipers F-16s to carry out those strikes in eastern Syria. Now will come all right along the border with Iraq, striking 2 targets affiliated with Iran's proxy forces in the region. The Pentagon saying that these were ammunition dumps, ammunition depots used by those proxy forces to attack U.S. forces in the region, which were starting to become quite numerous. 19 in the past 10 days, and pressure was building in Washington for President Biden to respond and order those airstrikes. That's exactly what happened. And we're also learning just moments ago, Griff, that Israeli forces have launched a second incursion, a mechanized assault on Gaza, sending tanks, armored personnel carriers backed by airstrikes into Gaza. So that's the latest on the ground.
Hey, that's a second incursion into Gaza. I want to talk about that, but first, let me just go back to the strikes for one question, Lucas, and ask you. We're learning a pair of F-16s carried out this strike, and it's a targeted strike. But why jets? Why not launch missiles? We have lots of USS carriers in the region. I'm just curious if you have any insight to sort of the decision that was made here on using airstrikes and jets.
Well, Griff, it's notable the USS Eisenhower strike group is not yet even in the Mediterranean. She's still in the Atlantic, probably another day or two from Gibraltar in the entrance. And launching Tomahawk cruise missiles from warships is probably not needed. First of all, you have overflight issues. If you launched Tomahawks from the Red Sea, they'd have to fly over Saudi Arabia, perhaps Jordan, Iraq. And but by using those jets, those F-16s, and we also have F-15 Space Al Dhafra Air Base in the UAE, you can fly over into Syria and drop those bombs on those targets. Eastern Syria is largely ungoverned space now, Griff. As you know, it's the end of the ISIS war. Those ISIS-held territory for many years. You still have 900 U.S. troops on the ground in Eastern Syria, but it's largely ungoverned, so this target seemed to be appropriate. There's a proportional response. The Pentagon has called it one in self-defense, and certainly they see Iran's fingerprints all over it. That's why this strike was a message to Iran, for sure, Griff.
And I spoke in the last segment with Steve Rogers about sort of the USS Red Line, which is the death of U.S. citizens. We know there were some 21 U.S. military troops injured, but were there any deaths?
Griff, a U.S. contractor, an American contractor, died as a result of one of those drone strikes. He suffered a heart attack. He was sheltering in place. He was hiding. And while he wasn't directly killed by one of those drones, still some blood on the hands of the Iranians. And then it was notable in the statement from Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin tonight, announcing those airstrikes, the counterattack against those proxy forces. He mentioned the death of a contractor.
Rest in peace to that contractor.
The red line for the U.S. military and the White House has always been if any Americans are killed, and an American did die in this case. And by the way, that's exactly what happened earlier this year, back in March, when the Biden administration launched another pair of airstrikes, also in eastern Syria, against Iran's proxy forces. So this is now the second strike this year, but certainly the Pentagon does not want this strike to be seen as in any way affiliated with Hamas and Israel, the more going on here. But for most people at home, they're going to have a hard time believing that, because it feels like it's all connected with.
Hey, look, there's just one last question on the news you just broke for our viewers here at nearly 1:40 a.m. on the East Coast, after 8 o'clock there where you are in Tel Aviv, and that is this second incursion by IDF forces on the ground into Gaza. You're reporting, putting out on Twitter that it was brief, it's over, but do we believe that's more preparing the battlefield, if you will, for the larger incursion, or do we know?
There's no question, Griff. This is a probing. This is prodding. Remember, Hamas, in the lead up to its attacks on Israel on October 7th, it was doing something very similar. It was doing a lot of training missions right there along the border, kind of lulling people to sleep. So right now, what the Israeli forces are doing, they're poking, they're prodding, they're showing Hamas they can go into Gaza when it wants to. Israel's defense minister and prime minister just recently said they will go into Gaza at a time of their choosing of nobody else but Israel. And so these forces are going in and preparing the battlefield. They're also backed by massive airstrikes. We've seen hundreds of airstrikes, some over 650 over the past 2 days, targeting Hamas leaders. In fact, just yesterday, the IDF announced that they had killed Hamas's deputy intelligence chief, Griff. So these airstrikes are continuing. And for the second straight day, Israeli ground forces, mechanized forces, including tanks, have gone into the Gaza Strip briefly before pulling out, Griff. Certainly sending a powerful message to Hamas and the world in the process.
We are keeping a close watch at this early hour. Lucas Tomlinson, live force on the ground in Tel Aviv. Lucas, thank you. Kevin? Thank you, Griff. Time now to bring in retired Army Colonel Daniel Davis. He's a senior fellow at Defense Priorities. Colonel, good to be with you. I just want to sort of talk about a couple of things that I heard Lucas mention there, and I think the most pressing for a great number of Americans is this idea of an escalation. What's the danger that as we make these strategic strikes into eastern Syria, that more begets more?
That's the biggest concern, Kevin, and I'm really glad you brought that up, because it is absolutely not in America's interest to get sucked into another Mideast war. That would be the worst possible outcome we could have.
Yeah.
This is not about deterrence at this point. This is about escalation management to keep from getting out of control. And look, we have to back up a little bit to find out why we're even in this difficult situation with these troops here. President Trump 3 times tried to get and actually announced that he was going to get all of the troops out of Syria and bring them completely home. 3 times he was thwarted by people in the Pentagon who said, no, we don't want to do that. We have to keep people there. And for whatever reason, he didn't press the issue. Then in 2021, President Biden came in. I actually wrote an article that said, look, our troops in Iraq and in Syria do nothing for American vital national interests. They don't protect us at all, but they are points of vulnerability that these kinds of Iran-backed violent groups or any of these other violent groups in the Middle East could attack. And they can attack us if we're not there. But we are, and now then the very thing that I was concerned about is upon us. And because of the situation with Israel and Hamas, this could explode into a much larger war, because this is probably not going to deter anybody from doing anything. I bet that we'll continue to see these attacks, and if one American gets killed, then we're going to have a lot of pressure to directly strike Iran, because many will blame them no matter what. And if that happens, then we can find ourselves in a big war that does not serve our interests, and we must avoid that at all costs.
A big war that would cost trillions of dollars, and you know what, listening to, I must say, I think there is a fatigue factor that has to be addressed as well, Colonel, because I think there are a lot of Americans, listen, they look at the economy, they look at where our resources are going, they see what's happening on Capitol Hill. Lawmakers and politicians are asking for $100 billion here and $100 billion there. I'm just not so sure there's a lot of support for that domestically. What do you think?
I couldn't agree with you more, and I think that much more Americans are at that point than our members of Congress are at this point, but I hope they're about to catch up. Because look, if there's any chance at all we can get sucked into a war here that we don't need, we cannot do that while we're also trying to support a war in Ukraine, between Ukraine and Russia, and giving them millions of our artillery rounds. And now another $14 billion they want to send to Israel, and hundreds of thousands more of our artillery rounds. If we should ever need these things, our military capacity is now significantly diminished because of all the things we've already done. Now, imagine if we get drawn into a war that we didn't need to fight or want to fight, all of a sudden our capacity to fight that war is much lower than it was before. Our interests have to take priority, even aside from the money that you're talking about, which is a very important issue. But it's time that we have to think wisely, not emotionally.
I don't think there are a lot of people that can argue with what you said, and especially when you consider, Colonel, you have obviously Ukraine and Russia. There are great, and I think sufficient concerns about China and Taiwan, and you add it all together, this idea of maybe getting involved again is something that a lot of people just probably don't have a huge appetite for, but obviously we're watching it all very carefully. Colonel Daniel Davis, thank you, my friend. Appreciate it. We'll talk to you again real soon.
Thanks, Kevin. Look forward to it.
The manhunt for the Lewiston mass shooter extending into a second night. Fox News has now learned that elite Border Patrol agents are now on the ground. Let's go back to Fox News correspondent Molly Lyons live on the scene in Maine. Molly, what can you tell us? What's the latest? And thanks for being up early this morning.
Griff, it is dark out there and this manhunt continues. They're facing some pretty difficult circumstances, big concerns for law enforcement here in these dark overnight hours, but no further information about where Robert Card is. He remains at large, and the investigators in this area continue to urge people to keep their doors locked so that shelter-in-place advisory continues to be encouraged. You mentioned that elite Border Patrol, the BORTAC agents, they have arrived. They are here on the ground. They're essentially the special forces of the Border Patrol. They will be out there helping as this unfolds, and they've already been very successful in helping draw to a conclusion some high-profile cases recently. They helped track and find escaped Pennsylvania murderer Danielo Cavalcante. That was just last month. And BORTAC also breached and killed the Uvalde school shooter. That was May 2022. Also on this team, the FBI, the Coast Guard, a lot of manpower involved in looking for Robert Card. And certainly it made a little bit easier when daylight returns, as we're entering, as you mentioned, another day as the search continues. Right?
Molly, just a quick follow-up, and that is, you've been covering the story so well, and you're obviously in a small community area. You know, the population there, I think you said only like 25, 30,000. What is the sense of the people you're talking to there? Is there a sense of fear on the ground? Are they really sort of shocked and rattled by this?
It's almost eerie in a sense how quiet it's been because of that shelter-in-place. People do seem to be adhering to it to a certain extent. The schools were closed today, municipal buildings were closed throughout the day. So people are definitely taking this seriously as far as staying indoors. The people of Maine, you know, they're strong, resilient people that many of them have a familiarity with the wilderness, with hunting, with weapons themselves. They have some understanding culturally of all of those types of issues. So it's not unfamiliar to them to understand how dangerous this weapon is. And of course, with the body count that that happened with these two different sites, as well as the concerns for those that are still struggling in hospitals to survive, the danger, people fully understand what's going on here and do seem to be listening to law enforcement as law enforcement continues to call for anyone with information about Robert Card to give it to them so they can continue to look for him and take any clues they can find. Griff?
And the manhunt continues, Molly.
Yes, consider this some progress.
Thank you.
Yeah. They'll find the main shooter before I get out of this stuff.
It's provoking fears of a multi-front war after the U.S. showed strength by targeting Iranian proxies. The lead operational and logistics planner for U.S. Central Command during initial operational response.
Really, they need to hurry up and find that motherfucker.
Woods will join us next.
Shit.
This is my meal. I call this girl dinner. All the viral songs from TikTok's For You page. All on one Sirius XM channel.
Presented by creators like me.
On TikTok Radio.
TikTok Radio.
Listen on Channel 4 and the Sirius XM app.
Urgent Camp Lejeune settlement message. On September 6th, the government announced it will soon begin providing fast, guaranteed settlements to Camp Lejeune Marines, families, and civilians. Awards will range between $100,000 and $550,000, with an option for higher amounts. If you or a loved one spent time at Camp Lejeune and suffered cancers of the bladder, liver, or kidneys, leukemia, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, Parkinson's, or kidney issues, you may qualify for compensation and could be paid within 60 days after accepting your settlement, with your VA benefits fully protected. You may be entitled to a significant financial award for your Camp Lejeune claim, but you must act now. Call the James Harris Law Camp Lejeune helpline now to get the compensation you deserve. We're already fighting for thousands harmed by the water of Camp Lejeune. Call now or you may forever lose your right to be awarded a settlement between $100,000 and $550,000. For your free evaluation, call 800-260-3755. That's 800-260-3755. 800-260-3755.
This is professional golfer Mark O'Mara. You've heard me talk about Celebrity Greens, the company that builds championship-level synthetic putting greens at the homes of amateurs and professional golfers all across North America. Celebrity Greens is known for their great design, the use of the best materials, and amazingly high-quality installations. Their greens look great and perform like natural greens that I've played on my entire career. Now, Celebrity Greens is looking for additional sales and construction partners. If you're involved in the synthetic turf business or a contractor looking to expand your business or an entrepreneur, give Celebrity Greens a call today. They're currently expanding across North America, and they will be opening new markets soon. And if you're an avid golfer wanting the convenience and the beauty of a custom green or a beautiful low-maintenance lawn in your own backyard, you should call them too. Contact Celebrity Greens at 1-888-507-7960 or visit them online at celebritygreens.com. Celebrity Greens, redefining private golf all across North America. Visit them online at celebritygreens.com. Celebrity Greens.
Hi, I'm Joe Perillo with JoePerillo.com. We know many of you are searching for just that right pre-owned luxury vehicle. That's why I want to tell you about JoePerillo.com. At JoePerillo.com, you can browse our huge selection of curated luxury vehicles. JoePerillo.com is based in Chicago, but we ship cars all over the country. Check out JoePerillo.com. That's Joe Perillo, P-E-R-I-L-L-O. Or dial 312-BMW-1111. That's 312-BMW-1111. 312-BMW-1111.
Thinking about life insurance? What if you could make one free phone call and learn your best price from nearly a dozen highly rated, price competitive companies? Well, that's exactly what happens when you call SelectQuote Life. For example, George is 40. He was getting sky-high quotes from other companies because he takes meds to control his blood pressure. But when I shopped around, I found him a 10-year, $500,000 policy for under $25 a month. I'm SelectQuote agent Dan Savino. And believe me, if SelectQuote isn't shopping for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For your free quote, call 800-852-9320. That's 800-852-9320. 800-852-9320. Or go to SelectQuote.com. Since 1985, we shop, you save.
Get full details on the example policy at SelectQuote.com/commercials or price compare depending on the health insurance company and other factors not available in all states.
The Landstar business model gives professional drivers the freedom to decide what to haul, where to run, and when to go home. There's no forced dispatch at Landstar, so
They're routing us off.
Plus, Landstar owner-operators get exclusive savings on fuel, tires, equipment, and more. Whether you specialize in van, flatbed, step deck, or heavy specialized, define success on your terms as an independent owner-operator leased to Landstar. Visit leasetolandstar.com to find out why owner-operators call Landstar home. Generative AI. You know it's right there. A new world of possibilities waiting for your business. All you have to do is make the move. That's why now is the perfect time to talk with Tech Systems Global Services. As a Google Cloud partner, we're providing select companies with an exclusive generative AI workshop that requires no fees, just time well spent. Sign up at techsystems.ai. That's TEKsystems.ai.
Just hours ago, President Biden ordering the U.S. military to conduct airstrikes in Syria in retaliation to attacks on American service members. 2 U.S. fighter jets struck weapons and ammunition facilities in the region. Let's go right to Dakota Wood, former Lieutenant Colonel in the U.S. Marine Corps and lead operational logistics planner for the U.S. Central Command during the initial operational response to the attacks of September 11th. Colonel, thank you for being up early with us, and no one better to talk to right now. There's so many things I'd like to speak with you about, but I want to start with, so here we have this proportional specific strike in Syria, the IRGC ammo and weapons depots. It's meant to be a deterrent. You were a logistics planner and strategist for Special Operations Command. They're sitting back now, waiting and watching to see whether their strike works in terms of the deterrence. Walk us through what they may be talking about, what they're watching for right now.
Well, they certainly select their targets with great care, and the time of day
when they might have struck these things, indicates a desire to minimize the loss of life on the one hand, and to strike at something that they feel would really harm whoever the enemy is, right? In this case, these militias supported by Iran or IRGC, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, facilities themselves. So we have our weapons depot, weapons, platforms, things that you use to shoot,
they're routing us up further down work zone. Got everything screwed up.
That would have been used in those sorts of attacks. So that they
hope everybody's okay.
Very careful. Just compare F-16s and a huge air presence in Syria. There are S-300s and SA-8 air defense systems, which are pretty good, pretty capable weapons. So this battle damage assessment, the assessment of the effectiveness of that strike, and to see what kind of reply comes from Iran or these supported militia groups, all that is going on inside of the Central Command headquarters to see what that reply might be. I think what we should be concerned about is this idea of proportionality.
Well, Colonel, we want to talk a lot more about that. We're out of time. We have another hour coming. Stay right there, Colonel Dakota. We will be back with more team coverage on the two major stories, U.S. airstrikes, of course, in the Middle East, and that manhunt for the shooter in Maine. Keep it right here on Fox News. Kevin Cork and I will be back.
The first taste of coffee in the morning. Your child's laugh. The great outdoors. Florida Cancer Specialist knows it's the little things that matter. From next-generation sequencing to immunotherapies, we use the most advanced techniques and treatments to deliver the best possible care close to you. Visit flcancer.com/little things to see how our experts are with you every step of the way.
As a truck driver, your time is valuable. It's critical that you are provided excellent equipment in tip-top shape. At Rail Transport, we make sure that when breakdowns happen, you are back on the road quickly. We measure downtime in hours, not days. Couple that with our industry-leading address-to-address practical route mileage, and you have a winning combination. It's all part of our commitment to driver success. To learn more about driving careers with Rail, give us a call at 715-591-7050 or visit rail.jobs.
Attention owner-operators. Are falling spot market rates and rising fuel prices shrinking your bottom line? Grace Fuel Program cuts costs for owner-operators like Rusty Navarro.
We got everybody blown away on fuel. I mean, we get a big discount off the top, then we get a fuel surcharge.
Our fuel program keeps the average net fuel cost at or below 75 cents per gallon. That's right, 75 cents per gallon. Visit creekcarrier.com to see what our owner-operators program could do for you.
Hello, I'm Ryan.
And I'm Catherine.
We're part of the BlendJet team.
And husband and wife. If you're one of the 5 million people who use a BlendJet portable blender, thank you.
A few years ago, I had a freak accident and almost died. Daily smoothies helped me recover.
We created BlendJet to help people live healthier lives by making it easy to enjoy perfectly blended smoothies and protein shakes anytime, anywhere.
The BlendJet 2 portable blender is powerful, USB rechargeable, cleans itself, and comes in over 30 colors.
Get yours now on blendjet.com.
At Jiffy Lube, it's our job to make car care make sense. With personalized service reviews that swap the car talk for straight talk, so you know what your car is telling you and what to do about it. Our highly trained service technicians have your back, helping you take care of the small stuff before it becomes big stuff. Plus a full range of services for Pennzoil oil changes, tire rotations, the filters, wipers, and more. We've got what your car needs, so you're ready for whatever's next. Putting you in the driver's seat of car care, that's a job for Jiffy. Find a Pennzoil pouring service center near you at jiffylube.com.
Is your prostate secretly being destroyed without you knowing it? All the ads for these prostate pills like Super Beta Prostate, Soft Palmetto, Prostate, Prostagenics, and others want to know which pills work and which are garbage. Now you can. Get a free copy of the new guide, Prostate Secrets, that pulls back the curtain on the prostate pill industry. Learn what is really in these pills. Which pill has over 987 adverse event reports filed against it with the FDA? It's shocking. Learn the one food to avoid that is a prostate killer, and discover the 3 so-called health foods that destroy your prostate. Get your free copy at prostatesecrets.com. That's prostatesecrets.com. This free guide will show you how to end your prostate problems without drugs or surgery. 5 important things to do to protect your prostate, and much more. Warning, this guide is controversial and may be offensive to some readers as it pulls no punches. So go to prostatesecrets.com. Prostatesecrets.com. That's prostatesecrets.com.
Ladies, do you avoid intimacy because of dryness? Then meet Reverie. Reverie is an easy-to-use instant that hydrates and restores intimate skin, so you can enjoy pain-free intimacy anytime that's right for you. In clinical studies on the ingredients in Reverie, 90% of women had little to no pain during intimacy. Over 5,000 doctors recommend Reverie because it's safe, effective, and hormone-free. And you don't need a prescription. Isn't it time to get back to feeling confident and comfortable with intimacy? Right now, save an additional 20% on your first month when you subscribe and get free shipping. Just go to Reverie.com/serious and use code Radio50. That's Reverie, REVAREE.com/serious. Code Radio50. Reverie.com/serious.
They routed us off and not even having
FDA cleared medical device. See instructions for use the product package inserted on Reverie.com.
225 miles per hour. You don't have time to think about security breaches. At 225 miles per hour, you can't concern yourself with ransomware. At 225 miles an hour, the only thing you should be focused on
When
is your momentum.
make a U-turn.
CrowdStrike. Powering champions.
The community of Lewiston, Maine on edge tonight as law enforcement work around the clock trying to catch Robert Carr. He's the suspect in the mass shootings that killed at least 18 people.
He should be considered armed and dangerous. Based on our investigation, we believe this is someone that should not be approached.
We will work day and night alongside our law enforcement partners to get answers to the questions this community deserves.
No rest for law enforcement in Maine as the manhunt continues. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Kevin Corrick.
Hey, Kevin, and I'm Griff Jenkins. On this early, busy Friday morning, we're keeping an eye also on the Middle East, where U.S. fighter jets have struck Iran-linked sites in Syria a short while ago in retaliation for attacks on American troops in the Middle East. Now, the strikes follow 19 attacks on U.S. bases in Iraq and Syria that's injured at least 21 U.S. personnel. Just hours ago, President Biden ordering 2 F-16 fighter jets to strike weapons and ammunition facilities associated with Iran's Revolutionary Guard in Syria. Let's go live to Fox News correspondent Lucas Tomlinson, who is live for us in Tel Aviv. Hey, Lucas.
Griff, the red line for the United States for many years has been the death to any Americans. That's exactly what happened just a few days ago when an American contractor was killed following one of those drone strikes inside Iraq. And in the early morning hours, President Biden authorizing a retaliatory strike, a nearly terror strike in self-defense is what the Pentagon is calling it, launching a pair of U.S. Air Force F-16s. Those Vipers striking targets in eastern Syria, the Abu Kamal, right on the border with Iraq. The targets were weapons depots used by Iran's proxy forces in the region. It's an escalatory strike. Going up the escalatory ladder, of course, the president will have a full menu of options, and this one, a strike intended to send a message to Iran and its proxy forces. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin saying in a statement, Iran is trying to hide its hand in all this, and we will not let it. That was the quote from the Defense Secretary. There's no question by striking in the early morning hours at a weapons depot, not a barracks, that this was intended to minimize the casualty figures, but it does send a message to Iran in the process.
And in the statement from Defense Secretary Austin, he says, if attacks by Iran's proxies against U.S. forces continue, we will not hesitate to take further necessary measures to protect our people. And it's an interesting, as you mentioned, that escalation ladder. Just talk to me, if you will, a very interesting point you were making in the last hour, which is why it was the F-16 jets that were used as opposed to, say, Tomahawk missiles.
Well, Griff, the Eisenhower strike group has not yet reached the Mediterranean. She's still in the Eastern Atlantic. Some of her escorts just left the Azores a few days ago. She's still a day or two out from the Mediterranean. While you do have U.S. warships in the Red Sea, launching Tomahawk cruise missiles would be tough because you'd have to do overflight rights. Those missiles would be flying over Saudi Arabia, Jordan, Iraq. By launching these F-16s, likely from Al Dhafra Air Base in the UAE, you can have precision strikes, but also not nearly as, it'd be much simpler to do it with the fighter jets dropping on the target. Eastern Syria is a largely ungoverned area. This area of Eastern Syria, where these strikes took place near Iraq's border, this is a formerly ISIS-controlled territory years ago. But Bashar al-Assad, Syria's president, really does not govern these spaces in Eastern Syria. In fact, the U.S. still has 900 troops in Syria. Some of them have come under attack in recent days. We have 2,500 U.S. troops in neighboring Iraq. But it's certainly telling that these strikes were carried out in Syria and not Iraq, which many officials say really has just become another province of Iran, and you probably would not have the support of Iraq's prime minister carrying out those strikes against these Iranian-backed forces.
Great insight. The Potomac's live force in Tel Aviv. Lucas, we'll check back in with you as the news.
That's what we basically gave Iraq to Iran.
Dakota Wood, former Lieutenant Colonel of the U.S. Marine Corps, and lead operational and logistic planner for U.S. Central Command during initial operation response to the September 11th attacks. Great to have you with us again, my friend. I just want to give you a reaction to what President Biden had to say. He said the strike happened to make clear that the U.S. will not tolerate such attacks and will defend itself, its personnel, and its interests. That, according to the Defense Secretary Austin. Your reaction to that statement?
Well, it's as normal. It's too little, too late. I mean, how many times have American forces been attacked? Not just in the past several days or weeks, but over the last couple of years while Joe Biden has been president. So, your own reports are talking about the number of people, the number of attacks that the U.S. has suffered. In response, now we send 2 aircraft to hit a couple of munitions storage sites. So I think what the message is to our enemies in the region is they can hit us and attack our people almost with impunity. And the response will have is at the dead of night against a weapons depot as opposed to extracting casualties from Iranian or the Iranian-backed militias that were involved. So I think it was a weak response. The U.S. needs to do more. Otherwise, again, the message is you can attack America and not much happens in return.
Let me sort of drill down on that, Colonel, because I had a similar reaction because I know how hard this administration has worked to create some sort of a relationship with the regime in Iran, whether it's making sure that they repatriate the money that they had, or trying to create some sort of a peace circumstance that would at least tamp down some of the tensions in the region. I'm wondering how much of a difficult choice from a policy perspective do you think it was for the White House and for the administration to make this strike? Is the fact that this strike was on, as you say, a facility in the middle of the night, is that more of a reflection of not wanting to overdo it, or am I reading too much into that?
No, I think you're on the mark there. The administration always wants to find this fine line of doing something, oftentimes after a lot of public pressure, whether it's trying these balloons over the United States or some other activity, and not doing too much. So with Iran, give them $6 billion, but there are these protests in the White House that no, this isn't ransom being paid for hostages, but everybody clearly knows that's what's going on, that the money won't be used to support terror groups, and if you give them money for medicine, they can use their own money then for weapons for terrorist groups. To try to disassociate U.S. operations and Iranian strikes against American forces from what's going on in Israel, but Hamas's horrific attack against Israel, Israel's response, U.S. support to Israel, as if these attacks against American forces aren't its own sort of messaging against the United States. So I think this attempted nuance, attempted balance, attempted proportionality is the administration once again trying to do something, but not enough to actually carry the day and send a very clear, compelling message to the enemy that's been attacking us.
In the 15 or 30 seconds or so that I have left, is this a pattern of behavior from your perspective, Colonel?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you can look at other presidential administrations, the nature of the response. You response by the Biden administration. And I think what will happen is more attacks against U.S. forces in the region.
I do remember those T-lamps flying over. It was a very big deal at the time. Colonel Wood, thank you so much. We appreciate it. Obviously, we'll touch base with you again later this morning. But for now, thank you, my friend. Great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Turning now to our other big story overnight. Law enforcement working around the clock to hunt down the gunman suspected of killing at least 18 people in Maine. We are learning that agents from an elite Border Patrol tactical unit are on the ground assisting with the search. Let's go to Fox News correspondent Molly Line live in Lewiston, Maine with the latest. Hey, Molly.
Hi, Griff. That tactical unit joining many others that are here on the ground, SWAT units, all sorts of things that have been out prowling the forest near where the car that Robert Card had been believed to be used to flee. The two mass shooting scenes here in Lewiston was found in Lisbon. So these units that joins a big team that have been spread out all across this area. Earlier today, in the community, the hometown of Robert Card, Bowden, there was a significant amount of activity. Law enforcement there have been using bullhorn essentially to try and get anyone in the residences there along Meadows Road to come out, calling Robert by name, but also asking just anyone inside to come outside. Ultimately, they went to using flashbangs and how the state police said that this announcements over that loud there were standard search warrant announcements, so they didn't know for certain that he was inside, but they wanted to take all the precautions necessary to protect their law enforcement and give any individual that might have been in that building the chance to exit. Card was not inside, he did not exit, and this search continues. And you mentioned that tactical unit, very successful resolving some other high-profile cases. They helped track and find the Pennsylvania murderer Daniel Cavalcante most recently, and joining a lot of assets here on the ground. And in the sky, there are helicopters, there are drones being used, dogs, of course, and multiple tactical units. The Coast Guard now involved as well. They had a helicopter up from Bay Harbor a little bit to the south here, which means that this search has expanded to the waterways. We knew that was a strong possibility because there are lakes, rivers all over this rural area, this rural state of Maine, a lot of forest land, a lot of woodland, making for a very difficult terrain now 24 hours after this mass shooting claimed 18 lives, and many others fighting for their lives tonight.
Involving many wondering what was the motive. We obviously don't know. Investigators haven't tipped their hand to what they think they mean, but the investigators seem to have learned a little bit about his mental health history. What can you tell us?
Yeah, that's one of the big concerns. He's an Army reservist, and with a significant amount of weapons training, he was a trainer himself, could teach other people to use weapons. So that's an aspect they're concerned about. But when it comes to his mental health, there's some law enforcement documents that show that he recently had been hearing voices and had sought mental health treatment over the summer, had been in treatment for about 2 weeks. His family had been concerned about his mental health recently as well, and that had all led to him ultimately getting at least a little bit of treatment over the summer. That's also an aspect of this search as well, whether or not that leads to more or less unpredictability in what authorities may know that they're not telling us as far as his mental status. But we'll find out more as this goes on. But that is a concern, as well as just his proficiency in weapons is another thing we're worried about, particularly in these dark overnight hours. Daylight to come, and hopefully will give them another chance at finding this suspect. Griff?
Great information, and the manhunt continues. Molly Line, live force on the ground in Lewiston, Maine. Molly, thank you. Kevin? Thank you. So much land to cover there. We're talking about from Bowdoin all the way down to Lewiston and points in between. We want to welcome retired NYPD Lieutenant Joe Cardinale. Joe, I just want to ask you about the perimeter. Obviously, you have multiple crime scenes. You have his home. You have, as Molly mentioned, even a waterway now with the coasties getting involved. How do you sort of set up a perimeter here to begin to continue to tighten the net?
Well, as Molly mentioned, it's very tough looking at your law Cavalcante, the same unit, dealt with him on a much smaller scale. And as somebody who is not familiar with the area, now you have an individual who is very familiar with the area, knows it better than anybody else. he knows about. Made his own little home over there away from home. Has supplies, has anything down there. So they're trying to decipher everything to your family members that are speaking to them. Now you have to get an understanding of what this is all about as far as his, his mental status wasn't there. All right, but what about him speaking to people? What about him associating with people? Is he that much of a loner? Does he speak to his family and tell them things? Say, I'm going to go here, I'm going to go there. Does he have somebody he fish with or hunting with? Maybe that person or those persons can point them in the right direction. Until then, they have to keep going systematically through the properties and gathering all the information from computers, through his phone, and find out anything that they can through those means, and then just take it from there. You just have to hope that he's not out of that area that they suspect him to be in.
I know from your perspective, Lieutenant, that this is the kind of circumstance that you would just want to just be on the job. You want to hunt this guy for as long as it takes, and yet fatigue is a real thing. You have to get shift changes in there. You have to make sure that the briefings are happening so everybody's on the same page. At the same time, I'm just curious, how do you coordinate in a circumstance like this when you have state, local, and federal, and now even military groups and assets all working together?
They have a command center, and everybody goes through that command center. Every commander that's there, and his or her troops over there, is well aware of who's on, how long they've been on for, and then giving them the rest that they need in between. But I'll tell you right now, so many times we ran on pure adrenaline, and you just kept going, and you just wanted to, get to the source of everything and get this person in custody. So they're well aware of, what their manpower is and what the capabilities are of the manpower, and they're also well aware of which direction they may have to go. Kevin, this is such an unknown right now because he's got the advantage in so many ways. We have the advantage by having the manpower necessary to go out there and means to go out there with the drones. And today technology is a lot more advanced than when I was on the job. And they've taken it to levels that people don't realize that they can do things with machines that saves the manpower on the ground sometimes. So I know people do not want to hear this, but you do have to give it some time to work. I mean, it was 2 weeks with Daniel Cavalcante, and I remember covering that with the network, and it was very tiresome for them, but they would dog it at it. They went out there and they stayed on it, and the same team that's there now was there, so they're familiar with what they have to do to get the job done.
Last question I have for you, Joe, in this segment, and it's this. How important would it be to get him in alive? This man may be suicidal, he may be fatalistic, but to have him in and to bring him in, I would imagine that would be hugely important.
600 West.
It is important. It's important to the families to give a rhyme or reason as to why he committed this heinous act. I mean, think about it. Everybody's saying that the big question is why? Why did he do this? And he's the only one that can really answer that, unless he has a manifest someplace that spells out everything and the reason for it. We know some of his grumblings. We know exactly what, that was all about. He has, he was very, angry with the reserves and the army and everything. So he has his anger towards that, but to lash out and take this in another direction and take innocent lives like that, this is the answer they want. So, of course, you want him alive, but you also do not want to have any other lives spent at his expense, all right? So they're going to take every precaution, and if it means taking him out, they will take him out.
Yeah, they have to neutralize him. They have to do what you have to do to protect the community. Joe Cardinale, retired lieutenant from Nationwide Media. My friend, thank you so much. We'll talk to you again real soon, big time. A lot of breaking news at this hour. Fox News confirming that Israeli forces executed a brief incursion into Gaza for a second night in a row. And U.S. fighter jets striking several targets in Syria as they retaliate against a spike in attacks on American troops in the Middle East. More on these developing stories alongside Chris Jenkins. I'm Kevin Ford. Stay with us.
Still to this day, if I listen to that record, I'll feel things that I didn't feel years ago.
Hi, I'm Conan O'Brien. Hear my in-depth conversation with Nirvana as the Anita wrote. Turns 30. Conan O'Brien needs a friend. With Dave Grohl, Chris Novoselic, and producer Steve Albini. Hear encores throughout the week on Channel 34. Schedule at SXM Lithium or listen right now at the SiriusXM app. Just search Nirvana.
Hi, I'm Joe Perillo with JoePerillo.com. We know many of you are searching for just that right pre-owned luxury vehicle. That's why I want to tell you about JoePerillo.com. At JoePerillo.com, you can browse our huge selection of cars all over the country. Check out JoePerillo.com. That's Joe Perillo, Perillo, or dial 312 BMW 1111. That's 312 BMW 11.
Are falling spot market rates and rising fuel prices being your bottom line? The Grease Fuel program cuts costs for owner-operators like Rusty Navarro.
We got Trimback all the way on fuel. I mean, we get a big discount on the top, then we get fuel surcharge.
Our fuel program keeps the average net fuel cost at or below 75 cents per gallon. That's right, 75 cents per gallon. Visit CreekCarrier.com to see what our owner-operators program could do for you.
Hello, I'm Ryan.
And I'm Catherine.
We're part of the BlendJet team.
And husband and wife. If you're one of the 5 million people who use a BlendJet portable blender, thank you.
A few years ago, I had a freak accident and almost died. Daily smoothies help me recover.
We created BlendJet to help people live healthier lives by making it easy to enjoy perfectly blended smoothies and protein shakes anytime, anywhere.
The BlendJet 2 portable blender is powerful, USB rechargeable, cleans itself, and comes in over 30 colors.
Get yours now on blendjet.com.
At Jiffy Lube, it's our job to make car care make sense. With personalized service reviews that swap the car talk for straight talk, so you know what your car is telling you and what to do about it. Where highly trained service technicians have your back, helping you take care of the small stuff before it becomes big stuff. Plus a full range of services from Pennzoil oil changes and tire rotations to filters, wipers, and more. We've got what your car needs, so you're ready for whatever's next. Putting you in the driver's seat of car care, that's a job for Jiffy. Find a Pennzoil pouring service center near you at jiffylube.com.
Hi, I'm Chris Hansen, here to tell you how you can get the lowest price in history on the real Viagra formula made by Pfizer. Right now, Score Blue is offering generic Viagra for only $5 a pill. That's just $5 a pill for the exact same formula that has sold billions of pills worldwide. But don't confuse these pills, which are made by Pfizer, with the cheap and often fake imitation pills sold online. Those pills never work. So go to Score Blue right now and take advantage of this unheard of low price on real Viagra made by Pfizer.
Let me see. Let me waste my time real quick and see if I can find parking in this truck stop. I ain't gonna make it my delivery morning.
This unheard of price of
BS here.
$5 is to celebrate that honor. Visit Score Blue today.
Matter of fact, I don't even know what time this shit is.
Visit ScoreBlue.com today. That's ScoreBlue.com. ScoreBlue.com is the #1 online EV service in the world. ScoreBlue.com.
Oh, they finally rebuilt this motherfucker.
Is your car still in warranty?
No, not anymore.
All this rebuilding is still ain't shit for a parking lot.
Ox Car Care. Yep, Ox will cover your car repair bills if anything happens to the car. New brakes, a transmission, AC or engine problems. Plus, Ox Car Care offers free oil changes, tire rotation, and roadside assistance. Wait, you
Oh, rebuilding the truck stop shit.
Just makes it
Expand
fixed.
the
Free oil
parking
changes,
lot.
free tire
Damn.
rotation, and free roadside assistance? What's the number? Yep, you don't pay, Ox pays. Ox even has a 30-day money-back guarantee and is A+ rated on the Better Business Bureau. They handle their claims from start to finish, unlike the other warranty companies. Here's the number, 800-281-5597. The last thing I need is an unexpected car repair bill. I'm calling Ox Car Care now.
You rebuilt the motherfucker. Y'all bring pizza back, man. Fuck. Tear this shit back down.
Military discounts. Don't get stuck with major car repair bill. Log on to oxcarcare.com or call Ox Car Care 800-281-5597.
Warren Buffett. Some down. I took a little peek at it. I ain't got a chance to go into details on it. But it looked like Warren Buffett screwed Pilot Flying J.
Search engine marketing and social media ads.
They got to get back from after scamming everybody a couple years ago. Oh, they rebuilt the parking lot and they did shit.
More customers, period. Visit upswellmarketing.com/radio for 10% off your first month. New customers only.
Another Cars for Kids.
CarsForKids.org is the best vehicle
Bullshit as well.
charity impacting the lives of
Yeah,
kids.
they
Thanks to your
rebuilt the
vehicle
parking lot too,
donation,
but
donate your old car,
they ain't
truck, or
shit up in here
motorcycle
to
in
park
any
at.
condition to Cars CarsForKids.org to give kids a second chance at a better future. CarsForKids.org picks up your vehicle in any condition. Towing is free and you'll receive a $50 gift card. Remember, CarsForKids.org. Right off the car, not the kid.
At the end of the street, turn right. Bolstering its posture in the Middle East, sending 900 troops to the region. This as U.S. forces conduct those airstrikes on Iran-backed groups, sending a clear message to Tehran. Our military intelligence officer John Jordan is the overseer at Stanford's Hoover Institution. He joins us now. John, thank you for getting up for us early this morning. With your background as a military intelligence officer and a pilot, by the way, did these F-16s get it right? What do you make of this deterrence strike?
Not much. This is basically a toe tap. All of this just didn't magically happen. I am also a Russian speaker. October 8th is what it is.
Turn right on West FW Marks Drive, then take the first right.
Planning is for 2 years. And part of the planning is anticipating the responses by Israel and by the West. So these attacks on American servicemen would
turn right at the top of the
all of these different groups align and
see what I could complain about up there.
Embed the United States inside this conflict, which only serves Iran's interests. So there's been a lot more planning in this than they've got a big head start.
I-70 West toward Indianapolis.
Secretary Austin's statement put out tonight. He says the U.S. does not seek conflict. This is only to defend the U.S. troops in Syria and Iraq that were threatened, targeted, and attacked. But you are saying essentially sort of what it is, which is the Iran's fingerprints are all over this. Where does this go?
Well, it's not just Iran. This is what's not being talked about. It's the conflicts of interest between America's adversaries, including North Korea, China, and Russia. Everyone is involved and has an interest in seeing the United States bogged down in a conflict, which slows down the peace process between Saudi Arabia and Israel, bogs down the United States militarily, gives China options in the Far East. For example, when Donald Trump left office, Iran was exporting 500,000 barrels of oil a day. Now it's 3 million. That changed to $2.5 million difference, mostly discounted oil going to China. Meanwhile, China is trying to grow their influence in the Middle East, establishing bases, even having joint military drills with Saudi Arabia. So this has all been planned out. There's another degree of correlation between all the parties, but they're are watching what each other is doing and trying to piggyback off each other.
You know, John, you really piqued my interest here, and I was just looking at our State Department sort of daily schedule, and Secretary Blinken is meeting with China's foreign minister of sorts tomorrow here in Washington. So, do you surmise that this will come up, the strikes on these targets, and of course the wider conflict playing out in Gaza?
Yeah, it will come up. The administration is, almost obsessively focused on having the appearance of calming things down with China, so that they can proceed with their other agenda, climate change, and to try to polish the apples that were to make it appear the American people things are calmed down, especially as we go into an election. The administration has shown no appetite whatsoever for confronting China on its malign behavior, or Iran in this case, which is what invited this. So you're going to look at this trying to paper over and not engage substantively by the Secretary Blinken, because the administration has demonstrated no wish to do so in the past, and they certainly aren't going to start now.
Well, that's a good point, and it is clear that this administration and American interests do not want this much wider conflict. But let me step back for a second. As a military intelligence officer, what do you think Iran's motive is here? Because they also don't want to escalate this rapidly, because they're going to be ultimately losing into this.
Well, Iran has a couple of goals here. First of all, their economy has certainly improved since President Biden took office, going from 4 billion in foreign currency reserves to over 70 now, with what the sanctions the administration has relaxed. So they want to do that because they have domestic political problems and unrest.
So they want to stir nationalism over involve the United States in a conflict with them. That only helps Iran's nations. It's a tactic of autocrats throughout history. Secondly, they want to slow down, retard, or stop the progress of the deals started by the Trump administration and the Abraham Accords, and they desperately need to stop Israel and Saudi Arabia from concluding some sort of diplomatic recognition and making peace. The impetus behind which is almost an alliance against Iran, and that's something that Tehran will count as an advantage of the weakness of the Biden administration, what they've shown over the last 2 years to accomplish those goals.
John Jordan up for us early on this Friday morning of a busy news cycle. John, thank you very much. It comes as U.S. forces are sending a clear message to Iran and its proxies as they carry out airstrikes in facilities in Syria. We'll have a live report from the Middle East next.
Ladies, do you avoid intimacy because of dryness and pain? Then meet Reverie. Reverie is an easy-to-use insert that hydrates and restores intimate skin, so you can enjoy pain-free intimacy anytime that's right for you. In clinical studies on the ingredients in Reverie, 90% of women had little to no pain during intimacy. Over 5,000 doctors recommend Reverie because it's safe, effective, and hormone-free. And you don't need a prescription. Isn't it time to get back to feeling confident and comfortable with intimacy? Right now, save an additional 20% on your first month when you subscribe and get free shipping. Just go to Reverie.com/serious and use code RADIO50. That's Reverie, REVAREE.com/serious. Code RADIO50. Reverie.com/serious. Reverie is a 510K FDA-cleared medical device. See instructions for use of product package inserted on Reverie.com.
I don't know what it is about these Kenworth and that damn coolant level. Always gotta put coolant in.
At 225 miles per hour. You can't concern yourself.
I still love Kenworth.
At 225 miles an hour. The only thing you should be focused on is your momentum. CrowdStrike. Power injections. Take as little as 3 minutes to see if you can save on motorcycle insurance with Progressive. Come on, you've spent more time than that debating your accessories. Could use some new riding gloves. Guess I'll go with black leather again. That just seems so basic. Wait, with that white leather, people be like, hey, this guy's different. Or they might be like, hey, this guy looks like a butler. Yeah, okay, black leather it is. Get a quote as little as 3 minutes at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. FleetPride.com is the first click in heavy duty. Introducing a new FleetPride e-commerce solution from the nation's largest distributor of truck and trailer parts in the independent heavy duty aftermarket. We invite you to visit FleetPride.com. You can register for your free account and shop from over 1 million parts 24/7. Search millions of cross-references, pay invoices, get real-time access to heavy-duty experts, and much more. FleetPride.com is the first click in heavy duty and the last online ordering tool you'll ever need. Visit FleetPride.com today.
When's the right time to take a trip? Anytime you want with OneTravel.com. Whether you're planning a long vacation, a weekend getaway, or a trip overseas, OneTravel.com's got you covered with deals on hotels, cars, airfare, and vacation packages. It's fast, easy, convenient travel for less. Online, on the app, or by phone. OneTravel's 24/7 end-to-end customer service does everything, so all you have to do is show up. Go to OneTravel.com or call 888-217-2722. OneTravel.com. Plan it, book it, live it.
5-star Google reviews are the best reviews any company can get. This drumbeat represents one. Many companies have some. And this is how many Search Kings has. Search Kings has over 1,500 5-star Google reviews. No wonder Google hand-selected Search Kings as a Google Premier Partner. You want to stand out where your customers are online? Switch to Search Kings.
All software vendors claim they put your interests first. Before upgrading your business management system, ask them if they give you unlimited user access or allow you to personalize the solution to meet your business needs. Ask if they offer transparent and fair pricing. not locking you into long-term contracts? Do they make it clear that you have the right to own and easily access all of your data? If your vendor doesn't deliver in these critical areas, visit Acumatica.com today to discover how the world's fastest growing cloud ERP company offers all of this and more. Acumatica puts customers first with a product roadmap to address real-world needs and regular feature updates based on your input and feedback. Acumatica, a business solution that truly puts your interests first. Learn more at Acumatica.com. Building the future of business together.
I'd rather have this damn warning alarm than that Cars for Kids commercial. I got cooler. These Kenworths, you always gotta add this shit. Go under the line a little bit, it'll be boo, boo, boo. And then as soon as you park to go air cooler, it rises back up again before you even add the shit.
Harris is tough on dirt and easy on your home. Use Harris to clean hardwood, laminate, and tile floors with the fresh scent of orange or lavender. Plus, there's no dyes or harsh chemicals. Harris vinegar-powered floor cleaners are available at the Home Depot and HomeDepot.com.
Back now with the Fox News alert to Pentagon, hitting the Iran-associated sites in Syria with precision munitions from a pair of F-16 jets. Defense Secretary Rudolph. Narrowly tailored strikes were in response regioning. Let's bring back on the ground.
Well, Griff, the pressure had been mounting both in Washington here in Israel after the U.S. troops were attacked 19 times in the past 10 days. And on the orders of President Biden, U.S. military carrying out those airstrikes, as you mentioned, a pair of Vipers F-16s likely flying from Al Dhafra Air Base in the United Arab Emirates, carrying out those strikes, targeting Iranian-backed forces in eastern Syria and at the small town of Abu Kamal, which is not far from the border with Iraq. Certainly the timing of this strike notable because they hit sites that not likely manned. This was not a barracks, this was infrastructure, but certainly the first stage on the escalation ladder. And senior Pentagon officials giving a briefing to reporters last night said they could even strike again, that this might not be limited to just one strike, Griff.
I don't want to put you on the spot here, but we're hearing a lot about the escalation ladder, and of course that this was Pentagon saying this was a precision strike. We saw it from a pair of F-16s on these specific targets. What might, if Iran does not get the message and it goes to the next rung of the escalation ladder, what does that look like? More of the same precision strikes, or does that include something different?
There's no question the Pentagon has a whole menu, if you will, a whole list of options to just turn up the volume and ratchet up the pressure. You can start targeting those proxy forces themselves, start killing people, start killing these fighters, Griff. And there's no question you've got drones and IR satellites in space that are watching these proxy forces. In fact, what the Pentagon said with this strike was some of the weapons stored in these facilities in eastern Syria were used to attack U.S. forces. Again, 19 times over the past 10 days. The pressure is mounting. We heard it in the White House briefing room from our own Jackie Heinrich about when will the president respond. Secretary of State Blinken said the U.S. Will be acting swiftly and decisively to defend itself, and that's what the Pentagon is calling these strikes tonight. Self-defense, narrowly tailored strikes, but certainly these Iran's proxy forces are scattered throughout the Middle East, in Syria, in Iraq. The United States still has 900 troops in Syria, has 2,500 in Iraq, and for a long time, for the White House, for the U.S. government, long-time U.S. policy is if any Americans are killed, the United States is going to strike back. And remember, that contractor died of a heart attack during one of those attacks in Iraq, and that's one of the reasons. That was one of the calculus was listed in the statement from the Defense Secretary that the U.S. would strike back and mention that contractor's death rate.
We'll see if Tehran gets the message. Lucas Tomlinson live for us in Tel Aviv. Lucas, we'll check back in with you as the news warrants. Kevin?
Thank you, Griff. Law enforcement widening their frantic search for Robert Carr, the suspect in Wednesday night's deadly mass shooting that rocked Lewiston, Maine. We want to go back to our Fox News correspondent there, Molly Line. She has the very latest on the manhunt. Molly, I know that you joined us overnight last night. You've been there pretty much on the clock nonstop. And yet I know that it's a slow process. It's a slow walk. But they're still working. They're still churning. Tell me what you can about where we are right now.
Yeah, pretty frustrating situation. This suspect, Robert Card, remains at large now more than 24 hours after this mass shooting at 2 different locations unfolded here in the city of Lewiston. His vehicle found in a nearby community called Lisbon, and then his hometown, really a massive amount of activity there this evening as searches went on at a family compound type property, multiple structures. There were flashbangs and authorities calling for anyone inside to come out, calling his name specifically. That never came to anything. He never materialized, came out of those buildings. There were search warrants conducted. They went in, they looked. We don't know what sort of evidence they may have collected, but they definitely did not collect the suspect that they were looking for, so that hunt goes on. Enormous amounts of assets.
Welcome to Indianapolis.
We've seen a lot of choppers. Drones are in use here, of course, the K9 dogs, and multiple tactical units as well.
Drive over to CB.
Well, we've had a chance to talk about the law enforcement angle. We spent some time talking about the legal angle. I'm wondering about the human angle, if you will. Tell me what you can about what you've seen. What's the vibe? I know this maybe must be an absolute shock.
I'm from Indianapolis, driver. And yes, that town is the nickname for it.
35,000 people, and the other nearby communities that are impacted as well are small communities. Lisbon, where the car was found, less than 10,000 people. So there are a lot of people that are finding out who these victims are now, finding out that they've lost their friends, lost their loved ones, and a lot of these people know each other as well. You know, they're friends, they would meet up to go bowling, so there are multiple friend groups and family groups that are impacted.
Yes, she was a pilot driver escort, you know, they escort their oversized loads, but on the side, she escorted loads. If you know what I mean. That was in Seymour, Indiana, at the TA.
And we are getting word now in these days as family notifications are still being conducted, but we're beginning to learn that some of these people that lost their lives, you know, were fathers and sisters and a lot of young men. So there's a lot of pain in this community right now, and people are just going to begin to start seeing the faces in the next 24, 48 hours or so.
And I think that is an undertold story. I know that you've done just such a great job for us. I do feel awful, not just for the family, but also, as you mentioned, the first responders. Yes, they have to sort of put on their hat of work, but remember, they're neighbors too. These are people from their communities as well, and it is a difficult situation all around. Molly Line, thank you so much, and of course, we'll touch base with you again. Griff?
Kevin and Molly, thank you. Let's turn now to Fox News contributor Ted Williams, former D.C. police detective and defense attorney, and someone I have spent a lot of time with in my career on these manhunts with you. We were talking in a previous hour, Ted, Kevin was mentioning, you were talking with him about, you know, Dana Mora, the prison break in upstate New York. But as we look at what's happening in Maine, and Molly's great reporting there, it seems that there's all these signs, Ted, that this was planned, that Card had planned this, but we really don't have a motive. Now, we're not playing for you real quick, Ted, a soundbite from Nicole Parker, former FBI special agent, weighing in on what she suspects may be the motive of the shooter. Listen.
There's always a precipitating stressor or factor that leads an individual to do something like this. The pathway to violence, they're always going to be looking at the grievance. What was the grievance? His girlfriend that he was trying to find? The motivation, the ideation, it all is going to be contributed in this investigation. And the motive is also going to be important to look at, because that's going to help law enforcement determine where his next steps may be and where he's hiding out.
Ted, what do you make about the possibility of a motive?
You know, that's a $64,000 question, Griff, I think many occasions we have to meaning rob, really a master. That he shot up 2 places. Now, what happens when a mass shooter is they normally go to one location, shoot it up, they'll either kill us or they'll escape from that one place. But this man here went to 2 different locations. After he went to these 2 locations, he went down the highway toward his home in Bolton, but he stopped in Lisbon, dropped off the car there, and his mom said that he may very well have left a cell phone there. So when you look at all of those things, it may be very well that we're dealing with a spree killer. And for our audience to know, a spree killer is a person who killed on multiple occasions, step back, take some time off, and then try to kill again. And I'm sure that law enforcement is looking at that, Griff.
That's a great point, Ted. You know, when you think about the possibility of him being a spree killer, you have to also look at what makes this case and this manhunt unique in that this is an individual with weapons, knowledge, and familiarity as an instructor. He knows the area, which is remote, so he has an advantage there, and he clearly has gotten however far into his plan that he thought without really any close calls. I mean, we saw the search on the house and it turned up sort of nothing. So how much of a threat do you think he is on the loose right now?
He is a tremendous threat to our society. He's armed, he's dangerous, and if he's still alive, he's very smart and cunning. And again, he may very well have used all this mental illness thing that we've all ran down that rabbit hole as a reason perhaps for this. And it may not be that he's mentally ill. He may just be what I define as a cold-blooded killer, and he may very well be willing to kill again. But he's playing a dangerous game with law enforcement here, a cat-and-mouse game. He's left his car, he's left possibly his cell phone, he's along a waterway, or he may very well, and law enforcement has to be very cautiously aware that this man may very well kill again.
Ted, there's no doubt that that cell phone can hold key pieces of information, but nobody does this better than you, and I've gotten a chance to spend so much time with you on these cases, and I know when we get on the ground, you have specific things you are looking for, you think law enforcement may be looking for in their hunt. What do you suspect, in addition to like the cell phone, that law enforcement may be trying to get their hands on right now to piece this together?
The one thing they may be doing, Griff, is not only talking to family members, but his associates and his friends, trying to find out who he's closest to, who he has established a rapport with. Because, Griff, if he is alive, he is going to rear his head, and that's when law enforcement hopefully will be able to catch him. But they've got to be patient. This man is a survivor. He's been out there, he knows the wilderness, he knows the land, and he knows it's a lot better than law enforcement. But one of the things, Griff, that is happening, you've dealt with this primarily on the borders. That group that's coming in, Vertex, they are trained. We know what they did with Cavalcanti in Pennsylvania recently. And we know what they've done in the past, and you articulated some of those things. So we really have a group of professionals coming in who know what they're doing, and they very well may be able to help to capture this guy.
That's a great point, Ted. And you know, in times I've been on the border, I've spent time with BORTEC guys, and the way they caught Cavalcante, the significant thing last month in Pennsylvania was that the weather got bad. They were closing in on Cavalcante, and of course the usual assets, the drones and whatnot, could not withstand the weather. But the BORTEC agents, who've been spending their entire professional careers lying in, is what they call it. They can sit for hours and hours and hours, very still in dirt, in heavy, thick brush, in a storm, and that's how they brought them in. But let me ask you this. Do you think that, and we've seen this in other cases, Ted, do you think that in this case CARD got a little bit of a head start? Because in these cases, there is a period of time, sometimes 24 to 48 hours, that elapse before the resources of the FBI and the resources of the Border Patrol's elite BORTEC unit come in, that gives him time, the suspect time to run. You feel like perhaps he's got a head start and now they're playing catch up.
You both bringing up a very excellent point. We remember, if you remember up in Dannemora, New York, when they had Matt and Sweat to skate, they went to an underground gutter to get out of there, and they had a head start. I believe here that if he tried, and he may very well have been successful, meaning caught it, still alive, he gave himself a head start by dropping that call in there, and he may very well be headed toward the Canadian border. And if you remember, that's what Matt and Sweat did in Dannemora, New York. Once they were given a head start and attempted to escape, they headed straight toward that border. One of them just about made it to the border, and he was shot by a state trooper, and he's now back in jail. But we must think out of the box. We gotta stop thinking about, hey, this poor guy had a mental illness and he had a mental breakdown and he did this and that. That could be a camouflage for his spree activity.
Thinking outside of the box may bring him into custody. The manhunt continues. Ted Williams, thanks for being up early for us. Great insight as always. Kevin? Thank you, Griff. U.S. warplanes have carried out an airstrike in Syria. A pair of F-16s striking targets in the country just hours ago in retaliation for attacks on U.S. troops in that region that actually injured 21 Americans, U.S. service personnel as well. A senior U.S. defense official says Israel was not informed ahead of the carrying out of those airstrikes against the IRGC. Joining us again is former military intelligence officer here at Stanford's Hoover Institute, John Jordan. John, I loved your conversation with Griff earlier. I want to sort of dive back into it. I want to first begin by asking you to react to what Iran is saying about the U.S.'s support for Israel. And I'm quoting now, if Israel's retaliation against the Palestinians in the Gaza Strip doesn't end, then the U.S. will, quote, not be spared from this fire. Your reaction to that?
Well, the hidden threat here is Hezbollah possibly inside the United States. I think that's the subtext here. But here's the big issue, Kevin, is this has been set in motion for over 2 years. Ali Bakar said this to Russian television. I watched it in Russian. Where he basically said, we've been planning this since the U.S. fled from Afghanistan. So what the Iranians have set up, and they've planned very carefully, is a set of moves to place the United States in bad choices where we have to either de-escalate and risk humiliation or risk a wider war. And they're managing this very carefully. And what they want to do is drive the U.S. from the Middle East, and the Chinese wish to help. The Chinese wish to grow their presence there and secure their energy supplies, in which they're completely dependent from the Persian Gulf. And there's a lot of other issues. You have North Korea supplying arms to Russia. So it is a combination of the unpalatable that are conspiring to stretch United States resources and force us into military and political and most importantly diplomatic retreats. The effect of which is to grow their influence and force some people, even in the Pacific, to be more accommodative to Beijing and Tehran. And this is their long-term goal, and they've been working on it for 2 years. We need to play some catch-up.
We absolutely do need to play some catch-up. I'm glad you mentioned that because I pointed out earlier tonight, we're talking about Ukraine and Russia. We're talking about China threatening Taiwan. They would and North Korea even, which often doesn't come up in conversation. There are a number of actors around the globe that would love to see the U.S. Involved in this sort of protracted entanglement in the region. I also want to get your take on something that I heard someone mention, and I thought it was interesting as well. It was sort of described this way. With the U.S. doing what it can to sort of try to thread this needle, it does run the risk of mission escalation. Because I think a lot of people in the region won't be as nuanced in talking about, well, this was a targeted strike. They will simply see U.S., Israel, it's us against them. Am I wrong?
No, you're absolutely right. The public opinion in the Middle East, which is what Iran is playing to, it's certainly not going to get that nuanced about it. This is going to be the same old conflict of Islam versus Israel all over again. What the administration should do, and what they won't do because they politically can't, is really go back after Iran in terms of sanctions, is reimpose the Trump-era sanctions on Iran that, basically broke the real, their currency to 85% of its value, knocked their foreign exchange rate back to $4 billion, and was causing economic unrest in Iran. The Biden administration let them off the mat by trying to resuscitate the Iran nuclear deal and doing everything the opposite of what the Trump and the previous administration did. But they need to go back to that. If they do that, they're not risking military escalation at all, and they'll have the advantage, but they can't.
Former military intelligence officer John Jordan, always a pleasure, my friend. I really appreciate your insight. Looking forward to continuing our conversation. Meantime, we'll be back with more coverage of the two major stories happening tonight, U.S. airstrikes in the Middle East and the hunt in Maine for Mr. Carr.
Your channel Halloween. Tune into channel 107 or the Sirius XM app.
Hi, I'm Joe Perillo with JoePerillo.com. We know many of you are searching for just that right pre-owned luxury vehicle. That's why I want to tell you about JoePerillo.com. At JoePerillo.com, you can browse our huge selection of luxury pre-owned vehicles. JoePerillo.com is based in Chicago, but we ship cars from all over the country. And while most of you know about our huge selection of luxury pre-owned vehicles, I'd also like to tell you about Perillo Collision. The Perillo Collision staff are trained and insured to repair Bentleys, Rolls-Royce, Lamborghinis, or any other high-end luxury vehicles. We service accidents from all over the country. Maintain your luxury vehicle's warranty with our professional team. Visit JoePerillo.com. That's JoePerillo.com. That's JoePerillo, and click on Perillo Collision, or call us at 312-BMW-1111. That's 312-BMW-1111. 312-BMW-1111. That's JoePerillo.com.
Hey, Formula One fans, you don't expect your favorite team to race without helmets, headrests, or halos. So how can you expect your business to win against adversaries without the right protection? CrowdStrike, the official cybersecurity partner of the Mercedes-AMG Petronas Formula One team, has redefined safety and security for the modern enterprise. The award-winning CrowdStrike Falcon platform harnesses the speed and power of the cloud to manage risk by staying ahead of adversaries, protecting modern businesses against cyber threats and stopping breaches before they happen. By providing unparalleled protection against cyber attacks, CrowdStrike powers organizations across industries and the millions of people around the world they serve. That's protection at every turn. To try CrowdStrike for free and start protecting your business today, visit crowdstrike.com/XM. That's crowdstrike.com/XM.
Take as little as 3 minutes to see if you can save on motorcycle insurance with Progressive. Come on, you've spent more time than that debating your accessories. Could use some new riding gloves. They saw them with black leather again. It just seems so basic. Wait, what if I did white leather? People be like, hey, this guy's different. Or they might be like, hey, this guy looks like a butler. Yeah, okay. Visit Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates.
At Werner, we believe that average is for other people. We were founded in 1956 as a one-truck company, growing to the industry-leading truck and trailer fleet we are today. Werner delivers superior truckload transportation and logistics service to customers across North America. We have more than 14,000 talented professional driver and non-driver associates who keep America moving. Visit ChooseWerner.com to see opportunities available with us today. That's ChooseWerner.com.
A painting by famous artist Banksy got everyday investors 32% returns? Yeah, I'll believe it when I see it. We know it may sound too good to be true, but thousands of investors are already smiling all the way to the bank. All thanks to Masterworks. Skip the waitlist at masterworks.com/fall. That's masterworks.com/fall. Past performance is not indicative of future returns. Investing involves risk. Important Regulation A disclosures and accurate advisory performance at masterworks.com/CD.
Policy terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting rules for recurring automated text marketing
Ain't
messages.
no parking here. Not no damn sure ain't no parking at the TA. I'll be running there and get me an ice here.
Attention all homeowners. Do you know
Hell
when
no,
you
no, well, I gotta
feeling
use the
too hot or
bathroom
cold?
first.
Fog between the glass. Spending too much on expensive energy that literally goes out the window? It's definitely time to replace. If you put off replacing...
But anyway, I gotta use the bathroom as well. So I know y'all definitely don't want to see that unless you got a scat fetish. But anyway, y'all be good. I'll talk to y'all later. Good night.